The year is 1352, and the night air of the city lies heavy, damp, and restless. Along crooked lanes where gutters run foul and shutters rattle against the wind, there is a door that many know and many fear. A door that stands not to a church nor a merchant's hall, but to another kind of house. A house that is neither wholly hidden nor wholly revealed. Push it open, and the world within is unlike the world without. The scents rush to greet you first, smoke thick from the hearth, stale ale spilling on rush-strewn floors, sweat that lingers in the rafters, and the faint but unmistakable stench of livestock who share these quarters as naturally as any patron. There is no silence here, but a tangle of noises, laughter that does not always ring with joy, whispers that carry both secrets and threats, the bark of a dog, the bleat of a goat, the shuffle of feet upon uneven boards. This is the brothel of the medieval city. Not the jeweled palace that poets sometimes imagine, not the velvet-draped chamber of fantasy. It is drafty. It is crowded. It is alive with hunger and debt and longing. Its workers are not courtesans of legend, but apprentices of necessity, pulled here by circumstance, bound here by coin. To enter is to step into a place that is both tavern and prison, both stage and shelter. A place tolerated by law but scorned by sermon, managed by bribery, and forever watched by suspicious eyes. A place where one must carry wit sharper than a blade, and a spirit resilient enough to endure smoke, lice, quarrel, and endless debt. And yet, for all its harshness, it is alive. A world within a world. A fragile community bound not by choice but by the shared rhythm of survival. Here begins our descent into that world, slowly, dreamlike, not to judge, not to condemn, but simply to walk among them. She is the axis around which the entire house turns. Not a queen upon a throne, not a lady of courtly grace, but the madam of this brothel, ruler of debts, keeper of secrets, judge of quarrels, and guardian of survival. It is she who greets the day with her ledger, scratched and ink-stained, where every coin gained and every coin owed is marked with a hand steady as stone. To the world beyond these walls, she is a tolerated nuisance, bribing sheriffs and guards with quiet coins slipped beneath pewter mugs. To the church, she is a paradox, condemned from the pulpit, yet whispered to in confessionals by priests who know her house too well. But within these walls, she is law. Her tongue is sharper than any dagger. Her presence heavier than any priest's curse. With her iron spoon, yes, iron, for she keeps it near as both weapon and symbol, she has restored silence to drunken brawls, and reminded soldiers that the house survives not by their force, but by her command. She decides who eats first when food is scarce. She decides who may rest when quarrels break out. She decides how much coin is cut for bread, for ale, for the roof that drips in storms, and for the endless bribes that keep raids from turning into ruin. To live under her is to bend, but to bend is to survive. For she, more than any sheriff or bailiff, holds the fragile balance that keeps this brothel from burning down in flames of law, or envy, or wrath. In her presence, even the goat grows still, and even Brutus, the mastiff who guards the doorway, lowers his head. She is not queen by title, but queen she remains, enthroned not in velvet, but in necessity. And so the house breathes under her rule, half in fear, half in gratitude, bound together by her relentless will. The house breathes with life, but not with cleanliness. Here, soap is treasure. A small, hard lump, rationed as though it were silver, guarded by those who know that without it, the skin grows foul, the hair grows heavy, the stench lingers like a shadow that will not leave. Bathing is not ritual, nor luxury, nor daily habit. It is a rare event, more often endured than enjoyed. In the corner of the yard stands a barrel, its water changed too seldom, its surface clouded, its smell faintly sour. To step into it is to share the touch of all who came before. Apprentices, soldiers, strangers whose names are already forgotten. Lice move as freely as whispers in this place. Fleas leap as though they, too, belong to the company. To scratch is constant. To comb is battle. To endure is simply the way of things. And so, the workers plait their hair tightly, tie cloths about their heads, and pray not for purity, but only for relief. Illness lurks like a patient guest. a sore that does not heal, a cough that rattles in the night, a swelling that none can name. Remedies are few, drawn from superstition, herbs, and the stern hands of women who have seen too much. Garlic rubbed on wounds, vinegar poured on skin, leeches kept in jars, their movements slow, their hunger endless. The madam herself guards a chest, not of jewels, but of little packets, powders, herbs, ointments, passed from old wives, from traveling merchants, from healers half-trusted. Some soothe, some sting, some do nothing at all. And so the house continues. Dirty, alive, aching, but not defeated. Hygiene is not victory here, but survival, bare, raw survival, carried in the body as in the spirit. Even in the dimness, even with the crawl of lice, there is laughter. A joke muttered at the barrel. A song hummed through the scratching. A resilience that refuses to die, even in the foulest of air. When the day settles and the noise of trade fades from the street, the brothel gathers at its hearth. Not for feasts, not for tables laden with choice, but for survival's meal, simple, heavy, and repeated without change. Pottage simmers in the great pot, its surface thick with barley, beans, cabbage, or whatever scraps the market left behind. Sometimes a sliver of pork, sometimes only turnip, sometimes nothing more than broth flavored with salt and smoke. The taste is never rich, but it is filling, and filling is enough. Bread comes next. Always bread. Stale, hard, sometimes softened in ale to keep the teeth from breaking. It is shared in chunks, torn by hand, carried from bowl to mouth with a kind of weary ritual. On rare nights, when luck has smiled or when a soldier has paid well, there may be cheese, sharp and crumbly, or a string of dried fish brought in from the docks. Such nights feel almost like holidays, though the food itself is humble. Yet even in the meal, order reigns. The madam chooses who eats first, whose debt is too deep to take more than a crust, whose hunger may be spared this evening. Quarrels rise quickly over the pot, but they are silenced by the sharp ring of her spoon against the iron rim. Around them, animals claim their share. Cats watch from the rafters, slipping down for a scrap. The mastiff, Brutus, sits patient yet watchful, his eyes glowing in the firelight. The goat bleats until fed, pushing its horns against the walls as though demanding tribute. Chickens peck at fallen crumbs, indifferent to the noise of laughter or quarrel. Food here is not only nourishment, it is a measure of power, of debt, of kindness, of cruelty. It is both anchor and chain. A bowl of pottage means another day endured. A crust of bread means another night survived. And so they eat, crowded and tired, in a room thick with smoke and hunger. For in this place, food is never feast. It is survival, plain and stern, carried on from one day into the next. In the silence between footsteps, another presence lingers in the brothel, not only human, but animal. For this house, like many in the city, is never without its creatures, each with a role as vital as any worker, each part of the tangled rhythm of survival. Brutus comes first. The mastiff, broad of chest, heavy of jaw, his eyes a steady glow by the door. He is not chained, for he needs no chain. His growl alone is enough to silence an argument, to halt the drunken soldier before his hand can rise. Some say he understands the madam better than any servant, for he moves when she glances, he waits when she commands. In his presence, thieves think twice, and strangers step carefully. He is not merely pet, but sentinel, as constant as the smoke that curls through the rafters. Then the goat, mischievous, stubborn, and uninvited, yet long ago the house learned it could not be driven away. It chews through rope, knocks over pails, startles patrons with sudden horns in the dimness. Yet in the coldest nights, when the wind seeps through every crack, its warmth is welcome, its body pressed against sleeping forms, its breath a strange comfort. To curse it is common. To laugh at it is inevitable. To miss it unthinkable. The cats, silent hunters of shadow. Sleek, watchful, they weave between legs, leap to rafters, curl upon straw-filled pallets. They are the house's true defenders, not of walls but of grain, for where cats are, rats are not. And without them, the store of barley and bread would vanish in nights of gnawing hunger. The workers feed them scraps, stroke their backs, whisper secrets into their fur. In their unblinking eyes lies a quiet companionship, neither judged nor betrayed. And lastly, the chickens. Scratching in corners, clucking beneath the benches, they gift the house with eggs when they choose, with feathers when they must. Their presence is as ordinary as the fire itself, yet without them, the meals would be leaner, the mornings quieter, the sense of life more hollow. Together, these animals shape the brothel's days. They are not decoration. They are necessity. Brutus, the bouncer. The goat, the comic and the bedwarmer. The cats, the keepers of grain. The chickens, the humble givers of sustenance. And so, in this house of survival, the line between human and beast blurs. All endure the same smoke, the same hunger, the same damp nights. All belong to the fragile, chaotic community that clings together under the madam's roof. In this house, coin is never still. It comes in swiftly, clinking on the table, pressed into palms, hidden in sleeves. Yet it flows out just as swiftly, vanishing into the madam's chest, into the hands of guards, into the endless hunger of the pot. The workers earn, but never enough. A night's labor may bring a few pennies, yet half is claimed at once: the madam's cut, the cost of bread, the fee for the bed on which they sleep, the share for ale, the coin set aside for bribes. What remains is small, so small it slips away like water between fingers. And when the coin is gone, debt takes its place. Debts for meals. Debts for ale. Debts for lost temper and broken mugs. Debts for clothes patched and mended. Debts for soap, that rarest of luxuries. Every name is marked in the madam's ledger, every penny owed recorded with the patience of a scribe and the sharpness of memory. None escape her account. When debt grows heavy, there are other ways to pay. Chores are assigned: sweeping the rushes, tending the animals, fetching ale from the brewer, mending torn garments, even carrying messages into the street. Those who cannot pay with coin pay with service, their hours stretching long, their backs bent beneath small labors that together weigh as heavily as chains. Some dream of saving enough to leave, but the ledger binds tighter than rope. Each debt replaced by another, each night's gain swallowed by the next day's need. It is not only a brothel, it is an economy of survival, a web of exchange where coin, labor, and obedience are all traded with equal weight. The madam knows this and she thrives in it. Her memory is sharper than any clerk's. She recalls not only who owes, but who lies, who cheats, who tries to slip free of their due. With a glance, she can summon guilt. With a word, she can demand repayment. And so the workers live in the rhythm of coin and debt, day after day, night after night. Not wealth, not poverty, but the thin line between, walked carefully, always beneath the watchful eye of the ledger. For here, survival is not only the body's endurance, it is the careful dance with debt, the endless balancing of what is owed, and to whom. The brothel stands in plain sight, yet it is always half hidden. To some it is a necessary place, a pressure valve for the city, tolerated though never blessed. To others it is a stain, a house of sin that mocks the law of God and the order of men. The law knows of it but does not always strike. For coin flows upward as steadily as it flows downward. The constable receives his share, the watch is given their drink, and sometimes even the magistrate's clerk finds a quiet gift in his pocket. So long as the bribes are paid, the shutters may remain open. But the church is less easily appeased. Priests thunder from their pulpits that such places damn the soul and rot the body. Some say the plague lingers longest in brothels. Others whisper that angels pass by with their faces turned away. And yet, even the most devout know the doors remain unbarred. For sin, though condemned, is rarely destroyed. It is managed, contained, pushed into certain streets, certain houses, certain women's lives. From time to time, the raids come. A squad of watchmen bursts in, lanterns swinging, boots stamping. The women scatter like startled birds. Some hide in closets, some flee across roofs, some plead in corners. The madam, calm even in the storm, thrusts a pouch of coin into a watchman's hand, or produces a name written on a scrap of parchment. A patron too noble, too powerful, to be shamed. The raid ends, and the doors open again. The workers live in this tension, never certain if a night's labor will end in laughter or in chains. They know the faces of friendly guards, and the scowls of those not yet paid. They know the difference between the priest who preaches fire and the priest who slips in quietly by the back door. The brothel is tolerated, yes, but it is a tolerance bought by coin, by silence, by careful bargains made in shadows. A tolerance that may last for years, or vanish in a single night of fury. And so they live beneath the cross and the crown, beneath law and church, never safe, never free, but enduring in the fragile space between sin and survival. Illness is never far from these walls. A cough, a fever, a rash, a wound left untreated, it creeps silently through the crowded rooms, carried in shared beds, in the heat of bodies, in the damp of the stone floors. And so, the house develops its own quiet practices. Remedies are gathered not from learned physicians whose knowledge is scarce and distant, but from old hands, from whispered lore, from herbs crushed between fingers, steeped in water, and poured into bowls with careful calculation. Sage to calm the stomach, rosemary for strength, lavender for sleep. Sometimes a drop of vinegar, a smear of honey, or a stitch of garlic. Some remedies sting. Some soothe. Some do neither, yet the act of care itself becomes a comfort. Midwives, often women older than most of the apprentices, keep watch over feverish bodies. They murmur prayers, chant softly, and press warm cloths to aching foreheads. Their hands are steady, their eyes kind, their knowledge drawn from repetition, observation, and memory passed through countless nights of need. Charms hang in corners, small and inconspicuous, tied with thread, etched with symbols. Some are gifts from patrons, some made hastily when a fever shows no mercy. Whether they work or not is less important than the belief they inspire, the comfort that even in illness, some protection exists. The madam maintains a small chest of tinctures, powders, and poultices. She knows which cure might soothe pain, which might quiet unrest, and which is simply a way to keep hope alive until the body can endure another day. Even amid lice, fleas, cold, and hunger, there is care here. Even in a house ruled by debts and quarrels, there is a tenderness, subtle and fleeting, in tending one another's wounds, in whispering advice for sleep, in sharing a warm broth with the sick. The brothel is a place of commerce, yes, but also a house of survival, where medicine is improvised, hope is fragile, and the softest touch can mean the difference between despair and another night endured. Even in the thick of smoke and the constant shuffle of feet, life finds its rhythm. Between the cold mornings and the long nights, between the chores and the clients, there is a quiet, persistent pulse of amusement, of diversion, of humanity. Stories travel faster than coin. Rumors of noble visitors, of hidden affairs, of favors granted and betrayed. Names are whispered in corners, laughter following closely behind, carried softly so that the walls themselves might learn and remember. Some gossip is harmless, some sharp as a knife, some carefully nurtured to keep attention elsewhere from one's own debts or mistakes. Entertainment comes in small, fragile forms. A song hummed while sweeping the floor, its tune soft yet insistent, floating through the smoke. A puppet show performed for children of the apprentices, or perhaps only to lighten the spirits of tired women. Spontaneous jokes, mischievous pranks, whispered rhymes, small rebellions against the weight of daily labor. Even games are serious matters here. Who wins a hand at dice may earn favor, or who loses may find a chore extended. Yet through all of it runs a shared rhythm, a knowledge that these moments, brief, ephemeral, carry the secret sustenance of the soul. The animals, too, seem to join in these rituals. The goat's antics prompt laughter. Brutus's quiet observation becomes part of the humor. Cats weave in and out, stealing attention, demanding scratches at inconvenient times. Their presence softens the sharp edges of fatigue, their small habits a counterpoint to the heavy realities of debt and work. In these fleeting moments, the brothel is not merely a place of survival. It is a place of connection, where human eyes meet even briefly, and a joke, a song, a shared secret, binds together those who otherwise endure only the sharpness of hardship. And so the house breathes, not only with the labor of bodies, but with the quiet rhythm of stories, laughter, and songs, an invisible heartbeat that carries them through long nights, through cold mornings, and into the slow passage of days that must be survived. Every house has its newcomers. Young women pulled by circumstance, by poverty, by promises too fragile to trust. They arrive wide-eyed, hesitant, sometimes defiant, often frightened. The air seems heavier to them, thick with smoke, sweat, and the unspoken rules of survival that must be learned quickly or not at all. The madam watches them closely. She knows the dangers of inexperience, the lost coin, the angered client, the whispered rumors that might unravel the fragile order of the house. With steady hands, she assigns tasks small at first, sweeping the floor, carrying water, fetching firewood. Yet even these tasks are lessons in observation, in patience, in reading the mood of those around them. The initiation is not gentle. Mistakes are punished, not always with cruelty, but with firm correction. A dropped bowl, a mismanaged client, a too late arrival, each becomes a lesson, an imprint upon memory, a mark of the boundaries that must not be crossed. The apprentices learn to move quietly, to watch, to anticipate, to obey without fear, and to speak without giving away what must remain hidden. They watch the seasoned women, absorbing gestures, glances, phrases, the way laughter can defuse tension or how silence can prevent conflict. They learn the balance of charm and caution, of appearing compliant while protecting themselves, of offering smiles as currency and wit as shield. Some nights are crueler than others. Some clients are harsh. Some errands expose them to ridicule, or worse, to danger. And yet, through it all, they endure. For within these walls, survival is a lesson taught by necessity, refined by experience, and remembered with a mixture of dread and pride. Over time, the wide eyes grow steadier, the hesitant steps more confident. Apprentices become workers. Workers learn the house's rhythm, the subtle alliances, the quiet hierarchy. They become part of the fragile community, bound not by choice alone, but by the shared trials, the whispered advice, and the hard-won understanding that in this house, every day endured is a victory of spirit. And so, the cycle continues. Newcomers arrive, old hands guide, the madam observes, and the brothel hums with the quiet persistence of survival, learning, and endurance. Outside the walls, the city moves with its own rhythms, markets, guards, priests, merchants, and other houses like this one, each carving its own claim in the shadows. Rival brothels whisper of slights, of stolen laundry, of patrons enticed away. Small conflicts flare like sparks, quick and sharp, yet rarely lasting beyond the night. The madam watches these rivalries as she does all things, with careful attention, with strategy hidden beneath a calm gaze. She knows that survival depends not only on managing her own house, but on understanding the subtle alliances and competitions around her. Sometimes a truce is necessary, sometimes a gesture, a coin, a favor, ensures that tensions do not ignite into chaos. And then there are the raids, the sudden intrusion of law or church, of men bearing lanterns and authority, of voices that bark commands. The madam is ready. Pouches of coin are secreted, secrets whispered, and the house moves like water, bending and shifting under the pressure. The women scatter with practiced ease, hiding in corners, under tables, behind curtains. Even the animals know. Brutus, ever vigilant, growls low. The goat nudges nervously. Cats disappear to unseen perches. Outside threats test the unity of the house, and inside, cooperation is the only shield. Rivalries may flare within, among apprentices or seasoned women, yet when danger comes, small grudges are set aside. Every hand counts, every eye observes, every movement matters. Survival is always a collective act. Yet tension lingers. The knowledge that any night could bring inspection, accusation, or raid keeps the inhabitants alert, aware, and wary. Secrets are currency, silence a shield, obedience a safeguard. And through it all, the madam holds the fragile equilibrium, steering the house through threats both internal and external, so that it may endure another day, another night, in a city that tolerates only what it must. This fragile balance, between rivalry and alliance, between law and mercy, between shadow and survival, is the unseen rhythm that shapes the life of the brothel, steady as a heartbeat, persistent as the smoke curling through its halls. Amid the smoke, the grime, the constant shuffle of survival, small sparks of tenderness flicker, fragile and fleeting. Love here is not heralded with fanfare or song. It is whispered in corners, shared in a glance, a touch, a hand resting lightly upon another's for a heartbeat before duty calls again. Apprentices grow close, learning not only the rules of survival but the rhythm of companionship. A joke shared over a stale loaf of bread becomes a secret bridge. A hand offered in cold nights, a shoulder leaned upon during moments of fear, these are the gentle threads that weave human warmth into the harsh fabric of the house. Yet the madam views such attachments with caution. Love, she knows, is a dangerous luxury. A bond can disrupt debts, provoke quarrels, or invite betrayal. And so, these small affections are kept quiet, hidden beneath layers of duty, obedience, and survival. Still, in the dim hours before dawn, when the fire has dwindled to embers and the city sleeps, hands may meet, voices may murmur soft words, and hearts may find solace even in a house of commerce and toil. These moments are brief, almost secret rituals, a defiance of circumstance, a reminder that even in the harshest of places, the human need for connection endures. And so the brothel, for all its noise and chaos, carries within it a softer rhythm. One of laughter, of quiet companionship, of moments that remind the women and the madam alike that survival is not only endurance, it is also the courage to feel, to touch, and to care, even when the world seems intent on denying such simple comforts. In these fleeting affections, the house breathes not only with the labor of bodies but with the quiet pulse of hearts, fragile and enduring, carrying hope through the nights and into the uncertain mornings. As dusk falls, the house exhales, and the rhythm of night begins. Lamps are lit, casting soft halos of light over stone floors and worn wooden beams. The scent of ale, pottage, smoke, and sweat thickens, yet life pulses steadily within these walls. Chores continue, not as punishment, but as the quiet, persistent cadence of survival. Floors are swept, tables wiped, firewood stoked, barrels checked, and the animals tended. Brutus pads silently from room to room, ensuring that order persists even as weariness creeps into every limb. The goat, ever mischievous, finds its way into the hearth's warmth, drawing a muted laugh from a tired apprentice. Cats slink through shadowed corners, seeking scraps, keeping watch, their eyes glinting like stars in the dim light. The night brings clients of every kind, merchants weary from travel, soldiers hardened by campaigns, nobles in disguise, even priests tempted by curiosity. Each encounter is brief, transactional, yet layered with rules known only to the women and the madam. Every movement, every word, every smile is calculated, a dance between survival and service. Meanwhile, the madam moves like a shadow herself, checking ledgers, assigning duties, whispering instructions, offering guidance, ensuring that the house remains intact despite the chaos. Her presence is both authority and reassurance, a steady heartbeat that keeps the fragile community tethered to order. Between tasks, whispers of gossip drift through hallways. A song may be hummed, a joke quietly shared, a tale recounted from earlier days. These small acts of connection, these gentle interruptions, are sustenance as real as bread or ale, a balm for the wearied soul. And when the hour grows late, the night settles deeper, the house itself seems to breathe. Workers curl in shared beds, animals find their corners, the fire flickers low, and the world outside becomes distant, almost unreal. In these nightly routines, the brothel becomes more than a place of work. It becomes a living organism, moving in cycles of labor, care, and endurance, its rhythm subtle yet unyielding, carrying all within it through the darkness of another night. The streets beyond the brothel's doors are alive with whispers, bargaining, and quiet tension. Each house claims its corner, each madam her influence, and each patron his favorite refuge. Rivalries are woven into the very fabric of the district, a silent war fought in glances, gestures, and the careful placement of coin. Some quarrels are petty, stolen laundry, nicked clients, overheard gossip. Others are more deliberate, rival houses seeking to draw away patrons or unsettle the balance of power. And yet, despite competition, there is an unspoken code. When the threat comes from outside, an inspection, a raid, or the wrath of local authorities, rivals may unite, offering temporary alliances born of necessity rather than trust. The madam navigates this delicate web with skill honed by years of observation. She knows when to extend a courtesy, when to slip a coin, when to turn a blind eye. Every interaction is measured, every decision a careful balance between survival and influence. Even the apprentices learn this subtle dance. They see how a smile can placate tension, how a whispered word can prevent confrontation, how loyalty to the house does not preclude awareness of the forces beyond its walls. Animals, too, sense the currents of the street. Brutus positions himself at the door with watchful eyes. Cats slip along the shadows, ears alert to footsteps. The goat, unpredictable as ever, keeps the household alert, a constant reminder that life, even in routine, can be disrupted. Through these rivalries and alliances, the brothel remains a microcosm of the city itself, a world where power is negotiated, where survival depends on wit as much as strength, and where every action, no matter how small, ripples outward. And so, life continues, shaped by the push and pull of competition, tempered by necessity, and guided by the steady hand of the madam, who ensures that her house endures, even as the streets outside thrum with danger, intrigue, and opportunity. In the quiet hours, when the fire burns low and shadows gather in corners, the house speaks in a different language, the language of stories, whispers, and imagination. Tales of spirits that linger in empty rooms, of ghosts who walk the halls unseen, are shared softly, almost reverently, as both warning and amusement. Some say the spirits of those wronged long ago wander here, seeking justice or mischief. Others claim that a shadow in the hallway is not merely a trick of candlelight, but the restless soul of a patron, a rival, or a woman who never found freedom. The stories are told quietly, so the walls themselves might absorb them, so the night might seem less empty, less still. Superstition threads through daily life. Charms are tucked into pockets. Herbs are hung above beds. Coins are offered to unseen forces for protection, for luck, for favor. Some acts are rooted in faith, others in habit, others in hope. The hope that even in a harsh and dangerous world, unseen guardians watch, or at least, that belief itself brings comfort. The women tell tales with subtle humor, weaving mischief into legend, laughter into fear. A clatter in the rafters becomes the ghost of a forgotten maid. A sudden breeze carries the whispers of old lovers. Even Brutus, alert and solemn, becomes part of the story, a silent witness to the invisible world that dances alongside their own. These stories are more than entertainment. They are a map of memory, a way to name danger, to laugh at misfortune, to claim courage in the face of uncertainty. They remind everyone in the house that they are not alone. That even when the city outside seems indifferent, the world within the walls hums with life, both seen and unseen. And so, the brothel carries its folklore gently, like a soft thread running through the smoke, the laughter, the work, and the quiet moments. Ghosts, charms, and whispered legends become companions, shaping the rhythm of nights, easing the fear, and marking the passage of time with stories that endure beyond coin, beyond labor, beyond even the harshness of survival itself. In the close, crowded rooms, illness moves quietly, slipping from one body to another with the ease of shadow. Fever, coughs, rashes, and the ever-present threat of pestilence are constant companions. No one is immune, and all are vigilant in the small ways they can be. The women learn to treat what they can with herbs, poultices, and simple potions. Sage for fevers, thyme for digestion, garlic for strength, lavender for sleep. Remedies are measured not with precision, but with experience, with memory of what soothed pain before, what comforted the restless body when no physician could be summoned. Bathing is rare, soap scarcer still, and lice are endured with grim tolerance. Cuts are bound with cloth, wounds soothed with honey or vinegar. When sickness strikes hard, midwives and older women move quietly from bed to bed, whispering encouragement, pressing warm cloths to burning foreheads, murmuring prayers alongside practical care. Even the animals become part of health management. Cats patrol for vermin, Brutus lies near those too weak to rise, and the goat, somehow comforting, presses close on the coldest nights. The smallest creatures become guardians of the fragile human bodies around them. The madam maintains a small chest of tinctures and powders, instructing the women in their use. Her hands, weathered and experienced, deliver both cure and reassurance. She understands that survival is not only in coin or labor, but in the careful tending of bodies, in the vigilance against the invisible threats that stalk even the strongest among them. In this house, health is a daily struggle, a quiet rhythm of attention, care, and improvisation. Each day survived, each fever soothed, each wound bound, becomes a testament to resilience. And through it all, life persists, stubborn and enduring, in the thick, smoky rooms, under the watchful eye of the madam, and amid the shared efforts of a community bound by necessity and quiet courage. When night drapes the city in shadows, the doors of the brothel open to strangers, each carrying a story, a secret, or a need they dare not speak aloud elsewhere. Merchants weary from the road, soldiers heavy with campaigns, and nobles in disguise, all arrive, crossing the threshold with cautious eyes and measured steps. Some seek only warmth and comfort, others information, influence, or the opportunity to bend the house to their will. Their whispers, their gestures, their furtive glances create an undercurrent of intrigue that threads through the night. A single conversation may ripple outward, touching debts, rivalries, or alliances in ways unseen. The women, seasoned and alert, navigate these encounters with skill. Every smile, every word, every careful touch is calculated. They learn to read intent, to anticipate desire, to protect both themselves and the house from unspoken dangers. Secrets are currency, discretion a shield, and trust granted rarely, always weighed. Even the madam plays her part. She watches, listening for rumors, noting the presence of the powerful or the ambitious. She senses when a visit carries opportunity or threat, when a whisper could unravel the delicate balance maintained so carefully in her house. Her authority is subtle, pervasive, and absolute. Through it all, the animals remain vigilant. Brutus observes every movement at the door. The goat startles at sudden noises, drawing laughter or exasperation. Cats slink in the shadows, ears attuned to every soft step. The household, human and animal alike, senses the rhythm of these nightly arrivals, adapting, responding, enduring. In the hush between candles, the house holds countless secrets. Every visitor brings more, and each night is a careful dance of attention, caution, and subtle power. The brothel is not merely a place of work, it is a stage for intrigue, a hub where hidden currents intersect, and where survival requires wit, discretion, and an unflinching awareness of the shadows that move just beyond the firelight. At last, the night deepens, and the house exhales its long, slow breath. The work is done, the visitors have gone, and the rooms grow quieter, filled only with the soft crackle of dying embers and the occasional murmur of the night. The women settle into shared beds, narrow and worn, blankets thin but treasured. Bodies pressed together for warmth, limbs curling against one another like fragile shields against the cold. The goat sprawls near the hearth, Brutus rests vigilantly by the door, and the cats curl in corners, silent and attentive. In these hours, small comforts take on enormous weight. A sip of warm broth, a whispered conversation with a friend, the soft brush of hair, the careful folding of clothing, a stolen moment of laughter at some long-forgotten joke. These gestures, simple and fleeting, become anchors, grounding them in the midst of chaos. Sleep itself is precious and precarious. One ear always listens, one eye half open. Dreams are often brief, touched by memory or worry, yet even a fragmented rest restores enough strength to endure another day. The madam walks quietly through the rooms, ensuring all is as it should be, her presence both reassurance and authority, a final guardian before dawn. Even amid the hardships, lice, damp floors, hunger, the rhythm of sleep is a quiet defiance, a small assertion of humanity. It is a reminder that life continues, that bodies require rest, and that in the shared warmth of companions, even the hardest night can yield solace. Through the cycles of labor, worry, and fleeting joy, the night becomes a sanctuary, however temporary, and the house, for these hours, feels less like a place of survival and more like a home. And when the first hints of dawn brush the horizon, the women will rise again, carrying these small comforts in their hearts, ready to face the relentless rhythm of another day. With the first pale light of morning, the house stirs again. The quiet of night gives way to the measured rhythm of tasks, sweeping, washing, carrying water, tending fires. Every movement is part of a subtle choreography, an unspoken order that ensures survival in a place where chaos is always just outside the door. The animals are tended first, or at least with care equal to that given to any visitor. Brutus stretches, shakes himself, and pads the halls, a guardian whose presence is both comfort and discipline. The goat is fed and guided to its familiar corners, its mischief contained with gentle persistence. Cats patrol for vermin, hunting tirelessly in the cracks of the floor, their silent vigilance a vital part of the household's fragile ecosystem. Food is prepared with efficiency born of necessity. Pottage is stirred, bread is sliced, and even the smallest scraps are gathered, measured, and distributed. Hunger is a constant companion, yet the women manage, sharing portions, rationing what is available, turning scarcity into routine. Each chore, each motion, each attentive glance contributes to the quiet order of the house. Laundry is hung, linens checked, rooms aired where possible. Tools are cleaned, floors scrubbed, surfaces wiped. The madam oversees, guiding hands, correcting missteps, reinforcing routines that protect both health and harmony. Through these repeated, deliberate actions, the brothel functions not merely as a place of labor, but as a living organism. Every member, human or animal, participates in the cycles that maintain stability. The chaos outside, the threats from rivals, the scrutiny of authorities, all are held at bay, if only by the careful diligence of those within. And in the rhythm of chores, the tending of animals, and the quiet order that persists even in the harshest conditions, the women find a kind of reassurance. Life continues. The house endures. Survival is possible, not through grand acts, but through steady attention, shared effort, and the subtle discipline that turns daily routine into resilience. In the heart of the house, food is more than sustenance. It is a measured resource, a fragile balance that must stretch to meet the needs of many. Pottage, thick and often bland, bubbles slowly over the fire, its aroma mingling with the persistent sense of smoke, sweat, and animals. Bread, dense and stale, is broken carefully, rationed among those who work and those who serve. Each meal is a study in economy. Leftovers are repurposed, scraps saved, and even the smallest portions carry significance. Sharing is essential, quarrels over food are rare, for the women know that conflict can endanger not only survival, but the delicate cohesion of their community. The madam oversees each serving, distributing portions, keeping records, ensuring that no one takes more than their share, and that all maintain enough strength to continue their work. Her vigilance extends to the quality of the food, the timing of meals, and the careful rotation of scarce ingredients. Amid these practical concerns, meals also offer moments of connection. Women gather briefly, exchanging words, sharing news, or recalling fleeting joys from the world outside. Even the simplest pottage becomes a ritual, a small pause in the relentless rhythm of labor, a reminder that nourishment is as much social as it is physical. Animals, too, have their place in this economy. Brutus may receive scraps, the goat fed carefully, cats rewarded with morsels for their tireless patrol of vermin. In tending the animals, the women find structure, companionship, and a sense of order that mirrors the careful management of human needs. Even when the food is humble, even when it repeats day after day, the act of eating together reinforces the fragile bonds of the house. It is in these moments, breaking bread, sharing pottage, attending to both human and animal, that the community asserts its resilience. The rhythm of meals, though modest, becomes a heartbeat in the larger pulse of survival, sustaining body, spirit, and the quiet persistence that carries the house through each passing day. Money flows in careful currents within the house, measured, counted, and portioned with vigilance. Wages are earned in increments, most of it absorbed by the madam's cut, by rent for beds, by the cost of food, by the necessities of survival. Few ever hold more than a fleeting taste of independence, yet every coin carries significance, every transaction a test of judgment and restraint. Debt is common. Small mistakes, missed payments, or unexpected expenses can plunge a woman into temporary servitude beyond her scheduled shifts. Chores become currency, labor a means of repayment, and the madam's ledger, a mix of memory and meticulous notes, dictates the rhythm of obligation. No detail escapes her eye. Every coin lent, every favor granted, every debt owed is recorded, consciously or not, in the shared knowledge of the house. Yet within this delicate economy, ingenuity thrives. A favor exchanged, a secret shared, a chore completed with extra care, these acts become part of a subtle barter system, a web of influence and obligation. Social skill becomes as valuable as coin, wit as precious as gold. The women navigate these currents carefully, knowing that survival depends on more than strength or endurance. It depends on cunning, discretion, and the quiet understanding of the rules that govern the house. Even the smallest gestures matter. A tip kept aside, a favor granted with timing, a small kindness extended, these are threads that strengthen bonds, prevent disputes, and ensure the fragile cohesion of the household. In a place where the world outside is unpredictable, this internal economy provides a form of stability, however tenuous. Through it all, the madam remains the unseen architect of this system. She watches, she calculates, she balances wages, debts, and labor with an instinct honed by years of experience. Her authority ensures that the delicate machinery of survival turns smoothly, that the women know both the limits and the possibilities, and that the house endures as a living, functioning microcosm of the city itself. In this careful management of coin, duty, and obligation, the women learn that survival is a skill, patience a virtue, and that even in the harshest circumstances, a balance can be maintained, fragile yet enduring, by understanding the rhythms of money, labor, and trust. The streets around the house hum with unseen tensions, a network of rivalries, alliances, and quiet battles. Each brothel asserts its presence through careful displays, whispers of influence, and the promise of better pleasures. Competition is never loud. It is measured, strategic, a delicate negotiation between assertion and survival. The madam observes all of it with unerring attention. She knows when to ignore a slight, when to respond with cunning, when to extend a token of goodwill to prevent escalation. Small gestures, a borrowed item returned at the right moment, a favor discreetly rendered, can shift loyalties, redirect patrons, or maintain peace. The balance of power in the district is fragile, and every action is part of a larger, intricate dance. Within the house, lessons are passed down. Apprentices and seasoned women alike learn to read the movements of rival houses, to sense tension in a glance or a tone, to anticipate the ambitions of competitors. Knowledge becomes protection. Understanding the rhythms of rivalry allows the house to navigate conflict without collapse. External threats sharpen this awareness. Occasional inspections, legal inquiries, or moral scrutiny from authorities demand vigilance. Rival houses, despite their quarrels, may unite briefly to withstand such pressure, showing that alliances are always fluid, formed by necessity rather than trust. The animals sense these shifts too. Brutus stiffens at unexpected sounds outside, the goat stamps impatiently when visitors approach, and the cats slink along, alert to every movement. Even their reactions feed the household's awareness, a subtle early warning system in a world where information is power. Through careful observation, measured responses, and an understanding of unspoken rules, the brothel maintains its place in the complex web of the district. Every small maneuver, every calculated smile, every discreet intervention preserves the fragile equilibrium. In this world, power is not taken by force alone. It is cultivated through insight, patience, and the steady hand of those who understand the subtleties of influence. And so, the house thrives not only through labor and endurance, but through strategy, perception, and the quiet mastery of social currents that ripple through the streets beyond its doors. New arrivals step cautiously through the brothel's doors, eyes wide with uncertainty, hearts quickened by curiosity and fear. The world they enter is harsh, unforgiving, and governed by rules learned not in books, but in the rhythm of daily survival. The madam greets them with a sharp gaze and a measured hand, assessing not only willingness but resilience. Each apprentice is quickly taught that obedience is safety, discretion is power, and every action carries consequence. Lessons are given through demonstration, through correction, and sometimes through the subtle sting of consequence, shaping instinct as much as understanding. Chores are assigned not as punishment, but as initiation. Cleaning, cooking, tending animals, attending to clients, each task is an essential part of the education. Every motion, every word, every glance becomes practice in the art of navigating the house and its patrons. Mistakes are instructive, missteps are corrected, and gradually, the rhythm of the brothel is absorbed, almost without thought. Older women serve as mentors, guiding hands, offering advice in whispers, sharing knowledge that cannot be written down. Tales of past encounters, strategies for managing difficult patrons, and tips for survival are passed down like precious heirlooms, woven into instruction alongside practical duties. Even within the initiation, moments of humor and camaraderie surface. A joke shared over a broken plate, a quiet cheer at a task well done, the brief comfort of a hand extended in reassurance, all provide the human thread that eases fear and strengthens bonds. Yet the lesson is clear: survival here demands resilience, attentiveness, and adaptability. Love and trust are cautious, laughter is brief, and every day brings new challenges. The madam's iron hand ensures that each apprentice understands this, that the fragile balance of the house remains intact, and that the cycle of learning, labor, and vigilance continues without falter. Through this baptism of fire, the newcomers begin to see not only the hardships, but also the rhythms, the subtle strategies, and the quiet strength that define life within these walls. And in time, they too become part of the living organism that is the brothel, a community forged in necessity, guided by experience, and sustained by resilience. Within the walls of the brothel, every whisper carries weight, every glance holds meaning. Secrets move quietly, passed from hand to hand, ear to ear, like threads weaving an invisible tapestry that binds the house together. Gossip is both weapon and bomb. Rumors of patrons, news from the streets, whispers of rival houses, all circulate with careful precision. The women quickly learn the value of information. Knowing who is loyal, who is dangerous, who might return or vanish, it is as important as any skill in tending fire or preparing pottage. And yet, the sharing of gossip is never careless. Words are measured, stories embellished or withheld, lessons learned in the subtle dance of trust and discretion. Even the madam participates, her mind always attuned to currents of news that flow through the house. She gauges truth from exaggeration, motives from misdirection, and uses the knowledge to maintain balance and influence. A single secret, wielded carefully, can prevent conflict, protect a worker, or secure a patron's loyalty. The apprentices observe, learning that the social web is as vital as the physical structure of the house. Friendships form, alliances are tested, and reputations are built or undone with each whispered tale. Laughter and gossip become tools of survival, providing not only amusement but insight, instruction, and subtle power. Animals, too, participate in this ecosystem. Brutus senses tension, his growl a warning. Cats react to disturbances, drawing attention to unseen movements. Even the goat, unpredictable as always, becomes a fixture in the rhythm of observation, its antics sometimes sparking stories that spread like wildfire through the rooms. In this microcosm of society, the exchange of information shapes daily life, guiding choices, influencing behavior, and reinforcing hierarchy. Secrets, gossip, and careful attention become as crucial as food or shelter, sustaining the house through the challenges of labor, danger, and the delicate balance of human relationships. And so, life within the brothel continues, an intricate web of voices, eyes, and whispers, binding its inhabitants together, providing knowledge, amusement, and the subtle means to endure another day. Within the crowded walls, hygiene is a daily concern, yet a constant challenge. Soap is scarce, water must be drawn from wells or barrels, and shared bathing is a rare luxury. Even the most careful efforts can barely keep pace with the relentless presence of lice, fleas, and the grime that accumulates from long hours of work and close quarters. Disease moves quietly, invisibly, yet its threat is ever present. Fevers, rashes, infections, and the shadow of venereal illness linger in the background of every interaction. Remedies are improvised: herbs, poultices, vinegar, and honey, but knowledge is limited and superstition often fills the gaps where science is absent. The madam enforces routines not just for discipline, but for survival. Floors are swept, linens aired, rooms ventilated when possible. Hands are washed, utensils cleaned, and the smallest precautions are observed with care, for in these crowded conditions, a single oversight can ripple outward, affecting many. The women learn to balance practicality and endurance. They accept discomfort as a constant companion, yet they innovate where they can, brushing hair, treating small wounds, sharing clean cloths, and tending each other's needs quietly. The act of care, however humble, becomes a form of protection, a shield against the invisible threats that hover over the house. Animals, ever present, play their part as well. Cats patrol against vermin, Brutus offers the warmth and vigilance of presence, and the goat, unpredictable and curious, reminds all that even in disorder there is rhythm, life, and companionship. Through these daily rituals, these careful acts of attention, the women cultivate resilience. Survival is not merely endurance of labor or threat, but the constant management of risk, the delicate dance of hygiene and vigilance, and the quiet determination to preserve life and health in a world that offers neither comfort nor certainty. And as night follows day, the cycles repeat: work, care, vigilance, rest, each element intertwined, a testament to the perseverance, skill, and communal strength that allow life to endure in the heart of the brothel. Even in the harshest of days, laughter finds its way through the brothel's walls. Entertainment is spontaneous, born of necessity as much as desire. A song sung softly near the hearth, a whispered joke shared between shifts, the playful antics of Brutus or the goat, all become threads of relief woven into the fabric of daily survival. The women create their own diversions. Puppet shows improvised from scraps of cloth and wood, storytelling contests that turn legends into laughter, or a quiet game with coins and dice, each provides a momentary escape from labor, debt, and danger. These small joys, though fleeting, become vital, sustaining morale and fostering bonds that strengthen the household. Humor thrives even amid adversity. Mistakes are laughed at, pranks are played, and the absurdities of life in such close quarters are recognized with gentle amusement. A goat toppling a pile of laundry, Brutus chasing a shadow, an apprentice tripping on a loose board, these moments, seemingly trivial, are celebrated as reminders that life continues, that even hardship can carry a spark of joy. Even the madam, stern and vigilant, allows space for these small pleasures. She understands that resilience is not only about discipline, work, or vigilance, but also about laughter, shared stories, and the ability to find light in darkness. She knows that a house that laughs together is a house that survives together. Through entertainment and humor, the women maintain connection, reinforce hierarchy, and express creativity. These moments of relief provide a rhythm, a cadence of respite that punctuates the relentless grind of the day. They remind everyone that despite hardship, despite fear, there is room for humanity, for play, and for the quiet joy that sustains them until the next night falls. And so, laughter, song, and small performances become more than pastime. They are lifelines, subtle but essential, preserving spirit, community, and hope within the brothel's crowded, challenging walls. Even in a place defined by labor, commerce, and survival, the human heart seeks connection. Romance flickers quietly in corners, in stolen glances, brief touches, and whispered confessions. Affection, however fleeting, becomes a balm for weary souls, a reminder that even amidst hardship, the capacity for intimacy endures. Love in the brothel is cautious. The madam discourages attachments that might compromise work or provoke jealousy, yet small bonds inevitably form. Two women may share a quiet laugh over the fire, a hand may brush against another in comfort, or a whispered word may carry the weight of unspoken understanding. These moments, subtle and private, offer warmth far beyond the hearth or the blankets. Clients, too, in rare moments, bring connection that is not transactional. A kind word, a respectful touch, a fleeting kindness. These interactions are cherished, remembered, and quietly treasured by those who navigate the house's demanding environment. Even amidst deception and disguise, glimpses of sincerity provide fleeting yet vital reprieve. The women develop careful strategies to balance desire with caution. Trust is earned slowly, affection is measured. Small gestures, a shared meal, a whispered story, a reassuring smile, become acts of courage, asserting humanity in a place structured by necessity and survival. Animals, ever present, amplify the sense of connection. Brutus leans against those seeking comfort, the goat nestles for warmth, and cats curl at their feet. The companionship of these creatures mirrors and magnifies the bonds between the women themselves, a constant reminder that connection is possible even in adversity. Through these fleeting intimacies, the women experience the depth of human emotion, learning that love, laughter, and friendship are not luxuries, but essential threads in the fabric of life. In the midst of toil and danger, these bonds sustain the spirit, offering hope, courage, and the quiet strength to endure yet another day within the brothel's walls. Outside, the city is at the mercy of the elements. Rain lashes against the walls, wind rattles shutters, and storms roll in with a ferocity that threatens both structure and spirit. Within the brothel, every leak, every draft, every shiver becomes a reminder of the constant challenges that life imposes upon those who dwell here. Yet in these moments, the community demonstrates its quiet resilience. Women move quickly to cover windows, stack blankets, and protect food from damp. Fires are stoked, water barrels adjusted, and animals guided to safety. The madam coordinates with the authority of long experience, assigning tasks, correcting missteps, and ensuring that the house weathers the storm without falter. Even the smallest acts of cooperation carry profound significance. Hands join to secure a torn shutter, voices rise in calm instruction, laughter punctuates the tension, a fragile yet vital affirmation of solidarity. Every member of the household, human and animal, becomes a participant in this collective effort, each contribution a thread in the safety and continuity of the house. Storms also sharpen awareness and adaptability. The women learn to anticipate leaks, manage cold and damp, and adjust routines in response to sudden disruption. These challenges reinforce the rhythms of communal labor and mutual dependence, teaching lessons that endure beyond the tempest. In the midst of wind, rain, and uncertainty, the brothel becomes a sanctuary of shared effort. The goat presses for warmth, Brutus remains vigilant, and the cats patrol the corners, each creature integral to the household's resilience. Through careful coordination, vigilance, and the quiet courage of those within, the house not only survives the storm, it endures with a sense of shared purpose and subtle triumph. And when the tempest finally passes, and the first shafts of sunlight pierce through the clouds, the house stands firm. Life resumes its rhythm, strengthened by the memory of adversity overcome, a testament to the enduring spirit, cooperation, and perseverance that define this small yet vibrant community. Within the walls of the brothel, stories take on a life of their own. Tales of spirits, ghosts, and unexplained happenings are whispered in candlelight, shared over pottage, and passed from one generation of workers to the next. These stories are more than entertainment. They are threads of cultural identity, shaping perception, behavior, and the communal imagination. A candle flickers, casting shadows that dance across the walls, and suddenly a creak or a whisper seems to carry meaning. The women exchange knowing glances, some smiling, some feigning fear, all participating in the ritual of storytelling. Ghosts of former patrons, legends of lost lovers, or mysterious happenings in neighboring houses become part of the daily rhythm, their presence a reminder of history, consequence, and the unseen forces that shape life. the tales serve multiple purposes. They warn, amuse, instruct, and bond. Apprentices learn caution through the exaggerated exploits of spectral figures. The older women find humor and shared connection in the retelling of familiar legends. Even the madam recognizes their subtle power, knowing that stories can enforce rules, inspire caution, or provide quiet authority without a single harsh word. Animals too become entwined in the folklore. Brutus' deep growl may be explained as a warning from the unseen. The goat's mischievous escapades become part of cautionary tales, while cats slipping silently through shadowed corners are elevated to mystical status in whispered conversations. Through this oral tradition, the brothel maintains a sense of continuity, identity, and shared experience. Ghost stories and folklore provide a collective lens through which the women interpret their environment, navigate uncertainty, and assert a sense of agency. And so, amid labor, hardship, and fleeting joys, the house thrives not only on sustenance and order, but on imagination, legend, and the human need to make sense of the world. In every whispered story, every candlelit shadow, the brothel's community asserts its cultural identity, resilience, and the enduring power of narrative to sustain life even in the harshest of circumstances. The brothel is more than a sanctuary of labor, laughter, and survival. It is also a crossroads of secrets, ambition, and influence. Nobles in disguise, spies seeking information, blackmailers, and city officials all pass through its doors, often leaving unseen ripples in the delicate fabric of daily life. The madam, ever vigilant, observes each newcomer with careful scrutiny. Every word, every glance, every gesture is noted. She knows the power of discretion, the necessity of caution, and the weight of information. A whispered conversation can contain valuable intelligence. A misstep can provoke suspicion or danger. In her hands, knowledge becomes currency, a shield, and a tool of subtle negotiation. Workers, too, play a role in this shadowy theater. Apprentices learn quickly to read intentions, to identify deception, and to maintain secrecy. They navigate the complex dance of appearances, performing their duties with precision while safeguarding the house and each other from unwelcome consequences. Even the animals contribute in small but meaningful ways. Brutus growls at unfamiliar approaches, the goat's restlessness signals disturbance, and cats move silently, alerting the household to movement beyond the door. Each creature participates in the ongoing vigilance required to manage both the visible and the hidden threats. Political intrigue enters not with fanfare, but with subtlety. A bribe exchanged, a favor discreetly rendered, a patron monitored for loyalties or weaknesses, these acts ripple quietly through the house, influencing alliances, maintaining balance, and protecting the fragile equilibrium of the brothel. Through careful observation, quick thinking, and the wisdom accumulated over years, the household navigates the dangerous currents of politics and secrecy. Life inside the brothel remains precarious, yet the community endures, fortified by vigilance, strategy, and an unspoken understanding that survival depends as much on intellect as on labor or endurance. And so, amidst laughter, gossip, labor, and love, the brothel thrives as a microcosm of society, a place where power, secrecy, and survival intersect, shaping lives in ways both subtle and profound. As dusk settles, the brothel begins its familiar transformation. The sounds of labor give way to softer murmurs, the preparation of rooms and fires marking the transition from day to night. Shadows stretch along the walls, and the rhythm of the house adjusts to the hours, a pattern repeated countless times, yet never entirely predictable. Night shifts begin with careful precision. Rooms are readied for patrons, fires tended, lamps lit, and the atmosphere adjusted to welcome the coming guests. Every movement, practiced yet fluid, reinforces the invisible order that sustains life in this crowded, chaotic space. The women move with quiet efficiency, guided by experience and instinct. Chores, conversations, and preparations blend seamlessly, forming a rhythm that balances work with vigilance. Even as the night deepens, the pulse of the house remains steady, a testament to discipline forged in necessity and sustained by communal understanding. Amid the routines, moments of respite emerge. A soft melody by candlelight, a whispered joke, the gentle reassurance of companionship, these fleeting instants of calm remind the women of their shared resilience. They breathe, laugh, and endure, drawing strength from the familiar cadence of work and care, from the quiet constancy of animals, and from the small rituals that mark the passing hours. As dawn approaches, the cycle shifts once more. Fires are banked, floors swept, and the first signs of light filter through the windows. The women, though weary, carry with them the knowledge that the routines they follow are not merely tasks, they are lifelines. They preserve order, health, and cohesion, sustaining both body and spirit through repetition and attentiveness. In this unending cycle, the brothel emerges as a living organism, its heartbeat synchronized with labor, care, and community. Every day brings the same demands, yet every day is met with resilience, wit, and the quiet determination of those who understand that survival is not a single act, but a rhythm, an enduring pattern of vigilance, labor, and shared humanity that carries the house through countless nights and countless dawns. Time transforms uncertainty into competence. The once timid apprentices now move with purpose, guided by lessons learned through repetition, observation, and gentle correction. Tasks that once seemed daunting, preparing rooms, tending fires, managing patrons, become second nature, performed with a balance of care and efficiency that sustains the household. The madam watches closely, her eyes noting both skill and demeanor. Responsibility is granted gradually, each step earned through diligence, respect for rules, and the demonstration of social acumen. A capable apprentice becomes more than a worker, she becomes a linchpin, someone who maintains rhythm, mediates tension, and supports the continuity of the house. Older women serve as mentors, providing guidance in nuance and subtlety. They teach apprentices how to read patrons' intentions, navigate rivalries, and manage disputes without direct confrontation. They demonstrate the art of discretion, of timing, and of communication that preserves safety and maintains the fragile balance of the household. Even in moments of leisure, lessons persist. Jokes, stories, and gossip carry hidden instructions, warnings disguised as amusement, wisdom wrapped in laughter. Every interaction, every observation reinforces understanding, weaving a social fabric that binds the community together. Animals continue to play their role, reminding apprentices that care extends beyond humans. Brutus' presence teaches vigilance and protection. Cats patrol and control vermin. The goat offers warmth and comic relief. These lessons in observation, attention, and companionship mirror the broader lessons of responsibility within the human household. As apprentices grow, they gain confidence, initiative, and a subtle authority of their own. They learn to balance work, social dynamics, and survival, understanding that resilience is as much a matter of judgment as of endurance. In doing so, they become vital threads in the living organism of the brothel, carrying forward the knowledge, skills, and spirit necessary for the house to endure, day after day, night after night. The madam is the heart and mind of the house, her presence commanding respect and shaping the rhythm of daily life. Her authority is not merely enforced, it is cultivated through wisdom, foresight, and the subtle understanding of human nature. Every decision she makes preserves the balance between order and chaos, ensuring that the household survives in a world that offers neither security nor leniency. She governs with a combination of firmness and tact. Rules are clear, yet their enforcement is measured. Disputes between women, disagreements over chores, or conflicts with patrons are handled swiftly, fairly, and with an awareness of broader consequences. Her voice is often calm, yet carries the weight of expectation and experience, a reminder that every action has repercussions. Financial management is another cornerstone of her authority. Wages, debts, and tips are monitored meticulously, with precision and foresight. The madam knows when to grant favors, when to extend leniency, and when to demand accountability. Through careful bookkeeping and keen observation, she maintains the fragile economic equilibrium that sustains the household. Her strategies extend beyond the walls of the brothel. Relationships with local authorities, rival houses, and patrons are carefully negotiated. Bribes, favors, and subtle diplomacy ensure tolerance and protection, shielding the household from the unpredictable scrutiny of law and church. Every interaction is calculated to preserve stability while minimizing risk. At the same time, she fosters morale and community. Shared meals, laughter, and small rituals, celebrating birthdays or marking accomplishments, are encouraged not only as relief from labor but as reinforcement of cohesion and loyalty. The madam understands that a resilient, connected household is a secure household. Even in crisis, her authority is decisive. Storms, raids, or sudden emergencies are met with rapid organization, delegation, and clarity. Each woman knows her role, and every action contributes to collective survival. Through these strategies, the madam ensures that the house endures, not by force alone, but through intelligence, empathy, and unyielding vigilance. In this intricate balance of discipline, diplomacy, and care, the brothel thrives. The madam's strategies for authority preserve life, order, and the subtle harmony of a complex, living microcosm within the chaotic streets outside. In the crowded streets and shadowed alleys surrounding the brothel, competition is constant, yet alliances emerge where survival demands it. Rival houses jostle for clientele, reputation, and influence, but even the fiercest competitors recognize the value of cooperation when external threats loom. Petty disputes, stolen laundry, minor insults, or the appearance of a favored patron exist alongside grudging respect and carefully negotiated truces. The women learn quickly that rivalry is tempered by circumstance, that confrontation can be costly, and that diplomacy often ensures longer-term survival than outright conflict. The madam orchestrates these relationships with precision. She extends favors, brokers compromises, and recognizes when to stand firm or yield. Every interaction outside the house is a negotiation, every gesture a signal of intent, every conversation a potential instrument of strategy. Through this intricate web of alliances and rivalries, the brothel secures protection, stability, and access to resources that might otherwise be denied. Inside the house, lessons in negotiation and adaptability are imparted to the women. Apprentices observe how disputes are managed, how tensions are diffused, and how relationships with outsiders are balanced against the welfare of the household. This knowledge becomes part of their survival toolkit, shaping not only their work but their perception of the wider world. Even animals play their part in maintaining equilibrium. Brutus asserts presence where necessary, the goat's mischief provides distractions that diffuse tension, and cats silently patrol, ensuring order in unseen corners. The household itself becomes a microcosm of negotiation, a living lesson in the delicate interplay of competition and cooperation. Through necessity, the women learn that strength lies not only in endurance or skill, but in understanding, timing, and subtlety. Rivalries sharpen awareness, alliances foster resilience. Together, these forces create a dynamic balance that allows the brothel to survive and even thrive amidst the uncertainties, dangers, and ever-shifting loyalties of the streets beyond its doors. Health in the brothel is a precarious balance between practicality and superstition. Illness creeps silently, carried by close quarters, poor hygiene, or the unpredictable whims of nature. Fevers, wounds, and venereal diseases are met not with certainty, but with improvisation, folklore, and the limited knowledge available. Remedies range from the simple to the bizarre. Poultices made of herbs, honey, and vinegar are applied to cuts and sores. Leeches and bloodletting are employed in desperate attempts to restore balance. Every treatment is part observation, part tradition, part hopeful experimentation, reflecting the broader medieval understanding of the body and its vulnerabilities. Superstition intertwines with practical care. Charms, prayers, and whispered incantations accompany. Ointments, believed to ward off malevolent forces or hasten recovery. The women often share these rituals among themselves, blending ancient wisdom with the everyday realities of their lives. Apprentices learn quickly that medicine is as much social as it is physical. Assistance, comfort, and guidance from older women are essential. Knowledge is passed quietly: how to prepare remedies, how to soothe pain, how to care for one another when the tools of science fail. These practices reinforce bonds, cultivate empathy, and establish communal responsibility for well-being. Animals, too, contribute in subtle ways. Cats keep vermin at bay, reducing disease risk. Brutus' presence offers protection, and the goat, ever unpredictable, occasionally becomes part of light-hearted distraction during long, anxious hours of care. Through these daily acts of attention, improvisation, and superstition, the women maintain a fragile balance. Life persists despite uncertainty, illness, and the constant challenges of their environment. In this space, healing is both necessity and ritual, blending observation, tradition, and community to sustain the fragile equilibrium of health within the brothel's walls. Within the brothel, food is both sustenance and social ritual, a tangible marker of survival in a world of scarcity. Pottage, stale bread, and the occasional meat or vegetable form the core of the daily diet. Simple as it may be, every meal is prepared with care, measured to ensure fairness, and shared in a way that reinforces the cohesion of the household. The economics of food are inseparable from the broader financial life of the house. Ingredients are rationed, purchased through careful negotiation with merchants, or gleaned from the city's periphery. Every loaf of bread, every spoonful of broth, carries the weight of resource management, debts, and the delicate balance maintained by the madam. Meals are also social instruments. They provide brief reprieve from labor, a moment for conversation, and an opportunity to exchange news, gossip, and observation. Apprentices learn the rhythm of sharing, the etiquette of communal eating, and the unspoken codes that govern behavior around food. These rituals reinforce hierarchy, responsibility, and mutual dependence, subtly shaping the social dynamics of the house. Even the animals participate in this economy. Cats are fed scraps to ensure they patrol diligently. Brutus receives portions for loyalty and vigilance. The goat's presence at the hearth offers warmth and companionship. Each act of feeding extends care beyond human life, reinforcing interconnectedness and responsibility. Through scarcity, planning, and communal practice, the women cultivate resilience. Meals become more than nutrition. They are lessons in patience, coordination, and resourcefulness. Every shared plate, every rationed portion, every careful preparation is a thread in the household's survival, weaving together economy, sustenance, and the enduring human need for nourishment, comfort, and connection. Every newcomer enters the brothel as both novice and observer, stepping into a world governed by rhythm, rules, and subtle hierarchies. Initiation is a rite of passage, a baptism into the routines, expectations, and unwritten codes that dictate life within these crowded walls. Apprentices begin with observation. They watch how seasoned women navigate patrons, handle disputes, and maintain composure amidst chaos. Every glance, gesture, and tone is studied carefully, absorbed as lesson as much as performance. Practical skills, cleaning, cooking, tending fires, or tending to animals, are taught side by side with social skills. Reading moods, managing delicate interactions, and maintaining discretion. The madam oversees this process with meticulous care. Mistakes are corrected, instructions repeated, and guidance offered in measured doses. Apprentices quickly learn that survival depends as much on understanding human behavior as on executing tasks efficiently. Respect, attentiveness, and subtle judgment become essential tools in their education. Older women play crucial roles as mentors, sharing knowledge earned through experience. Tales of past mistakes, warnings disguised as humor, and practical demonstrations all contribute to a layered understanding of the house. Apprentices internalize both skill and culture, gradually transforming from hesitant newcomers into reliable participants in the household. Even animals serve as teachers. Observing Brutus' reactions, the goat's temperament, or the cat's movements provides lessons in awareness, vigilance, and patience. The apprentices learn that life in the brothel requires attention to every detail, human and animal alike. By the end of initiation, the apprentices have absorbed the rhythms, hierarchies, and subtleties necessary for survival. They are no longer merely workers. They are integrated members of a complex ecosystem, capable of contributing to its continuity, maintaining its routines, and navigating both its joys and its perils. In this careful and deliberate process, The brothel ensures that knowledge, skill, and resilience are transmitted, preparing each new generation to uphold the delicate balance of labor, community, and survival that defines life within its walls. The brothel is a crossroads of society, where merchants, soldiers, clergy, and nobles all pass through its doors. Each visitor carries expectations, desires, and unspoken rules that the women must navigate with care, skill, and intuition. Interaction is never casual. It is a delicate balance of performance, discretion, and negotiation. Apprentices quickly learn to read the subtle cues of patrons, the flicker of an eye, a shift in posture, a hesitated word. These observations guide behavior, dictating whether conversation, charm, or caution is required. The women adapt fluidly, adjusting tone, gesture, and expression to maintain safety, secure payment, and preserve the house's reputation. The madam monitors these interactions closely. She coaches, advises, and intervenes when necessary, ensuring that the household maintains both order and profitability. Discretion is paramount. Patrons must feel respected, even entertained, while the women protect themselves from exploitation, harm, or scandal. Every encounter is also an opportunity for subtle social navigation. Information flows through whispered conversations, observations of patrons, and the careful management of rumor. The women develop a nuanced understanding of influence, status, and alliances, recognizing that survival extends beyond labor to knowledge and adaptability. Even small details matter. The arrangement of rooms, the presentation of food, and the timing of services all communicate competence and authority. Animals, ever present, reinforce these dynamics. Brutus offers a quiet warning, the goat provides distraction or warmth, and the cats patrol silently, maintaining order in unseen corners. Through these interactions, the brothel functions not merely as a place of work or commerce, but as a space of social engagement, learning, and influence. The women cultivate skills that transcend survival, intuition, diplomacy, and emotional acuity, ensuring that the household thrives amid the complex, unpredictable currents of human behavior. Life in the brothel is governed as much by numbers as by labor. Every coin earned is accounted for, every debt noted, and every transaction weighed against survival. Wages are modest, often absorbed in house fees, fines, and the mandatory cut claimed by the madam. For many, debt is an almost constant companion, shaping daily routines and long-term strategies. Apprentices quickly understand the delicate balance between earning and spending. Meals, clothing, personal items, and small comforts require careful budgeting, while failure to meet obligations can result in extended chores, reduced privileges, or stern correction. Every decision carries consequence, embedding financial awareness into the rhythm of daily life. The madam acts as accountant and arbiter, tracking debts with precision and memory. She negotiates payments, enforces fairness, and occasionally extends leniency, understanding that stability and morale are as essential as profit. Credit, favors, and small allowances are tools of both survival and management, weaving together the household's economic fabric. Debt cycles also shape social interactions. Women support one another, sharing resources or assisting with chores, while apprentices learn to navigate obligations without compromising their standing or safety. These networks of mutual aid, though informal, are essential to maintaining order and resilience within the house. Even animals play a subtle economic role. Cats control vermin, preserving food supplies. Brutus guards property and peace. The goat, ever unpredictable, demands food but contributes warmth and companionship. In this ecosystem, every member, human or animal, interacts with the economy, reinforcing the interdependence that sustains the household. Through careful management of wages, debts, and resources, the brothel maintains a fragile yet functioning economy. Survival is not merely about labor, it is about foresight, calculation, and strategic generosity. In this environment, financial skill is inseparable from social intelligence, discipline, and communal responsibility, ensuring that the house endures day after day, coin by coin, task by task. Hygiene in the brothel is a constant challenge, shaped by scarcity, overcrowding, and the relentless demands of daily life. Soap is rare, water precious, and privacy non-existent. Baths are communal, often shared in large barrels, and modest as they are, they provide moments of relief and a brief restoration of dignity. Despite these hardships, routines of cleanliness are strictly maintained. Floors are swept, clothes aired, and personal care performed whenever possible. Apprentices learn quickly that attention to hygiene is both practical and symbolic, a marker of respect for oneself, for others, and for the fragile order of the house. Disease is ever present. Lice, fleas, and infections thrive in crowded conditions, while venereal diseases pose constant risk. Remedies are improvised. Herbal treatments, poultices, and folk practices are employed with varying degrees of success. Observation, care, and experience become the most reliable defenses, teaching the women to recognize early signs and respond promptly. The Madam enforces both rules and guidance, ensuring that illness is contained, resources conserved, and morale maintained. Health is not a private matter, it is a communal responsibility. Every action, from cleaning a shared space to tending an unwell colleague, contributes to the survival of the household as a whole. Animals play complementary roles. Cats patrol for vermin, reducing infestations that could carry disease. Brutus maintains order, preventing unnecessary chaos that might compromise cleanliness. Even the goat's presence encourages routines of care, attention, and awareness within the domestic sphere. Through vigilance, routine, and shared responsibility, the women maintain a delicate balance against the threats of illness and decay. Hygiene is not a luxury, it is survival, discipline, and communal resilience, demonstrating that in this harsh, crowded environment, the smallest practices can have profound consequences for health, safety, and the enduring spirit of the household. Amid the harsh routines of labor, the scarcity of comfort, and the weight of survival, the brothel thrives as a space of small joys and spirited defiance. Entertainment is woven into the fabric of daily life, serving as both distraction and relief, a balm for weary bodies and minds alike. Women sing softly by candlelight, their voices carrying stories, humor, and the memory of distant places. Puppet shows, improvised from scraps of cloth and wood, enliven dull hours and teach lessons cloaked in amusement. Games are played, wagers made, and laughter shared, each act reinforcing bonds and easing tension. Gossip, too, is an essential form of social sustenance. Secrets, rumors, and whispered stories flow freely, providing insight into the city beyond, warning of patrons' intentions, and reinforcing a collective sense of identity. In these exchanges, apprentices learn the subtleties of perception, social intelligence, and community participation. The Madam encourages these moments, recognizing their importance for morale and cohesion. Small celebrations, birthdays, successful transactions, or even the survival of a difficult night become rituals that bind the household, reinforcing loyalty and shared purpose. Animals contribute to this rhythm as well. Brutus' playful growls, the goat's mischievous antics, and cats weaving through legs and corners create both amusement and continuity, grounding the women in a sense of home, however unconventional. Even in hardship, these moments of entertainment offer resilience. They remind the women of creativity, humor, and connection, teaching that survival is not only physical endurance but also emotional persistence. Laughter, song, and play become vital, sustaining spirit alongside labor, nourishing community alongside sustenance, and transforming a harsh environment into a living, breathing, resilient home. Amid the bustle of labor and the demands of survival, moments of intimacy and connection quietly bloom. Love within the brothel is rare, fragile, and often fraught with risk, yet it persists, offering solace and a reminder of humanity in a world defined by transactions and duty. Apprentices and seasoned women alike form bonds, friendships that endure long hours, partnerships forged in mutual reliance, and occasional romances that bring fleeting joy. These relationships are subtle, often hidden from the prying eyes of patrons and rivals, yet they carry profound significance. A shared glance, a whispered word, or a gentle touch becomes a lifeline, reinforcing emotional resilience. The Madam understands the delicate balance between affection and business. Romantic attachments are allowed cautiously, their presence managed to prevent disruption, jealousy, or distraction. In some cases, love becomes a quiet act of rebellion, a reminder that even in the harshest circumstances, the human spirit seeks connection, tenderness, and care. Animals contribute to emotional survival as well. Brutus' steady presence offers comfort and security. The goat, with its unpredictable charm, elicits laughter and companionship, while cats, curling at the feet of weary women, provide warmth and silent support. Even in the crowded, chaotic environment, these small forms of connection sustain morale and nurture bonds of loyalty. Through companionship, shared stories, and careful navigation of affection, the women learn that survival is as much emotional as it is physical. Love and friendship become shields, grounding the household in empathy, trust, and care. In the laughter shared between chores, in whispered confidences, and in the rare moments of quiet intimacy, the brothel's women cultivate resilience, proving that even in a place of commerce, the heart finds ways to endure, connect, and hope. The weather is an ever-present force, reminding the women that survival depends not only on skill and vigilance but on adaptability and unity. Storms batter the walls, leak through roofs, and soak the worn timbers, testing the strength of the building and the cohesion of its inhabitants. In these moments, the brothel becomes a hive of organized activity. Water must be swept away, fires stoked, and floors dried. Rooms are reinforced, animals secured, and chores redistributed. Every woman, apprentice or seasoned, contributes. Every action is part of a coordinated effort to maintain safety and order. The madam's presence is decisive. She directs, delegates, and maintains calm, ensuring that panic does not spread. Her foresight and experience transform potential disaster into an exercise in collective resilience, demonstrating the importance of leadership under pressure. Apprentices learn quickly that emergencies test more than strength. They test patience, judgment, and cooperation. Mistakes are costly, but guidance, encouragement, and shared responsibility cultivate skill and confidence. Even in chaos, the rhythm of the house persists, a testament to discipline and communal effort. Animals, as always, play vital roles. Brutus alerts to danger, guards entrances, and calms visitors. Cats keep vermin at bay, preventing further complications, while the goat's presence, though unpredictable, provides comfort and a familiar rhythm amidst disorder. Through storms and crises, the brothel demonstrates the interdependence of its community. Each member, human or animal, contributes to survival. The house endures because its inhabitants understand that resilience is not individual. It is shared, practiced, and cultivated. In these moments of trial, unity becomes as vital as skill, reinforcing bonds, teaching lessons, and ensuring that life within the brothel continues despite the unpredictability of the world beyond its doors. Within the dimly lit corners of the brothel, stories linger, whispered between tasks, carried in song, and shared around flickering candlelight. Ghosts, legends, and tales of the unseen world form a living thread of culture, offering amusement, warning, and a sense of continuity. Apprentices gather eagerly to hear these tales, learning the rhythms of narrative, the sharp edges of humor, and the lessons embedded in cautionary fables. Stories of restless spirits, vengeful patrons, or mysterious happenings convey both entertainment and practical wisdom, guiding behavior and shaping understanding of the environment beyond the visible. The women themselves contribute to this oral tradition, blending fact and imagination, personal experience and city lore. Each retelling strengthens bonds, creates a shared history, and fosters identity within the household. Humor and exaggeration bring levity to grim realities, demonstrating the human capacity to endure through creativity and communal expression. Even animals feature in these tales, their antics woven into mythic exaggeration. Brutus becomes a heroic guardian in whispered epics, the goat a mischievous trickster, cats, ever watchful, the silent arbiters of secret knowledge. These stories turn the mundane into legend, embedding the everyday rhythms of the brothel into a rich tapestry of narrative life. Through folklore, ghost stories, and shared myth, the women transform their surroundings into a space of meaning, imagination, and psychological resilience. Laughter, suspense, and communal storytelling become tools of survival, allowing them to interpret their world, navigate danger, and create a culture uniquely their own. In these moments, the brothel is more than a place of labor. It is a living archive of memory, creativity, and human connection. The brothel is more than a place of labor and leisure. It is a crossroads of secrets, influence, and subtle power. Nobles in disguise, clerics with hidden agendas, and spies seeking information pass through its doors, each visitor carrying intentions that may endanger or enrich the household. The women, guided by experience and the madam's instruction, navigate these encounters with vigilance and skill. Every glance, every question, every interaction is analyzed and measured. Discretion is paramount. Knowledge of patron identities, whispered confidences, and small details become tools of survival and leverage. The madam manages these dynamics with quiet authority. She negotiates favors, averts suspicion, and ensures that the household remains protected. Bribes and subtle persuasions safeguard tolerance from authorities, while internal rules maintain order and prevent secrets from undermining trust. Apprentices observe closely, learning the intricate dance of political awareness, risk assessment, and social intelligence. They see that survival is not only physical or economic but also strategic. An understanding of power, secrecy, and human behavior essential to the house's endurance. Even animals serve as silent participants in these tense dynamics. Brutus' watchful presence deters unwanted intrusion. The goat's unpredictability distracts or signals attention. Cats, ever alert, provide silent early warning of movement or danger. In this ecosystem, every member contributes to vigilance and security. Through careful observation, intuition, and collective coordination, the brothel becomes a space where secrets are managed, alliances navigated, and power subtly exercised. The household survives not merely through labor and economy, but through awareness, intelligence, and the capacity to operate in the shadowy currents of influence, intrigue, and human ambition that swirl beyond its walls. The streets surrounding the brothel are alive with competition. Neighboring houses of ill repute vie for patrons, reputation, and influence, creating a delicate balance of rivalry and uneasy cooperation. These tensions shape the daily life of the women, who must navigate not only their own household's demands but the unpredictable dynamics beyond its walls. Petty conflicts, stolen laundry, encroaching territory, or snide remarks flare often, yet the threat of outside interference, such as city officials or church scrutiny, forces competitors into pragmatic alliances. The madam orchestrates these interactions with strategic foresight, negotiating truces, extending favors, or deploying subtle intimidation to protect her house. Within the brothel, lessons in diplomacy are constant. Apprentices observe the negotiations, learning to assess threats, weigh consequences, and act tactfully. They understand that survival is not merely about physical endurance, but about recognizing when to confront, when to yield, and when to cultivate loyalty or mutual benefit. Animals, as always, participate in these dynamics. Brutus' presence signals strength to rival houses. The goat, unpredictable and bold, serves as both distraction and amusement in tense encounters. Cats silently patrol, ensuring that nothing goes unnoticed. Even the household pets are participants in the theater of influence, reinforcing the house's presence and authority. Through careful strategy, constant vigilance, and judicious negotiation, the brothel maintains its position in a network of rivals and allies. Turf is defended, resources are protected, and social order is preserved, demonstrating that in this harsh world, survival requires intelligence, adaptability, and a keen understanding of both competition and collaboration. The rhythm of the year shapes life in the brothel as much as the daily routines of labor and survival. Seasonal changes bring challenges and opportunities, altering the availability of food, the behavior of patrons, and the mood within the household. Winter chills bite through drafty walls, while summer heat strains the crowded spaces, testing endurance and adaptability. Festivals, religious observances, and local celebrations punctuate the year, offering moments of respite and communal joy. The women participate in their own ways, blending humor, creativity, and tradition to mark these occasions. Decorations are improvised from scraps, songs are sung, and simple feasts are shared, transforming ordinary days into celebrations that reinforce cohesion and morale. Rituals, both practical and symbolic, anchor the household. Morning routines, cleaning practices, and preparations for service take on ceremonial weight, instilling discipline and reinforcing hierarchy. Even small gestures, like lighting candles or setting food aside for animals, become acts of ritualized care, sustaining the continuity and identity of the household. Apprentices learn that life within the brothel is not only about survival but about participation in a shared cultural rhythm. Observing festivals, rituals, and seasonal shifts teaches timing, observation, and awareness, skills that are crucial for both social navigation and personal endurance. Animals, too, are part of this rhythm. Brutus senses the change in routines, the goat reacts to the shift of light and warmth, and cats adjust to patterns of human activity. Together, they form a living web of awareness that supports the household's adaptation to the cycles of the year. Through attention to seasons, celebration of rituals, and participation in festivals, the brothel transforms from a space of labor into a living, breathing community. These moments reinforce bonds, provide joy, and offer perspective, reminding all within its walls that even in a harsh, chaotic world, rhythm, tradition, and shared experience sustain life and spirit. As days turn into weeks, apprentices evolve from hesitant newcomers into competent participants, shaped by observation, experience, and the guidance of seasoned women. Growth is measured not only by practical skill but by understanding the subtle currents of the household: timing, etiquette, negotiation, and emotional intelligence. Mentorship is central to this transformation. Older women, having endured hardship and honed their craft, share their knowledge patiently and strategically. Lessons are embedded in daily routines, whispered advice, and demonstrations of technique, how to serve patrons, maintain cleanliness, soothe discomfort, and interpret social cues. Apprentices absorb these teachings gradually, internalizing practices that ensure both safety and competence. The madam oversees progress with a discerning eye, recognizing potential, correcting errors, and fostering confidence. Her guidance emphasizes self-reliance balanced with communal responsibility, teaching apprentices that mastery is not only personal but essential to the household's survival. Experience builds resilience. Apprentices learn to anticipate challenges, navigate rivalries, and manage both clients and coworkers. Mistakes become learning moments, humor softens the sting of error, and successes reinforce competence and confidence. Over time, they acquire a nuanced understanding of the household as a complex ecosystem, where every decision carries consequence and every skill contributes to the collective stability. Even animals contribute to this learning. Observing Brutus' vigilance, the goat's behavior, and the cat's instincts provides lessons in attention, patience, and awareness. Interaction with animals teaches subtlety, observation, and empathy, skills as vital to survival as any human interaction. Through mentorship, disciplined practice, and the accumulation of experience, apprentices become skilled, confident, and attuned members of the household. Their growth reflects both individual perseverance and the broader continuity of knowledge, ensuring that the rhythms, skills, and resilience of the brothel endure across generations. Life in the brothel is intertwined with the pulse of the city, and festivals mark moments of relief, reflection, and connection. These celebrations, both formal and improvised, offer opportunities for entertainment, camaraderie, and the reinforcement of social bonds. Decorations are crafted from scraps, songs are sung in candlelight, and small feasts are shared, creating a rhythm of joy amid hardship. Gossip flows as naturally as conversation. Through whispered stories and playful rumors, the women exchange news, warn each other of potential threats, and subtly navigate the intricate web of patronage, rivals, and city politics. Gossip is not mere idle chatter. It is a tool of survival, a means of understanding the shifting dynamics outside and within the brothel's walls. Social networks extend beyond the household. Contacts with merchants, travelers, and neighbors provide access to goods, information, and protection. Alliances, favors, and discreet negotiations all weave a fabric of interdependence that sustains the household. Apprentices learn that survival is built not only on skill and labor but on observation, discretion, and participation in these networks. Even the animals contribute to this social ecosystem. Brutus' watchfulness signals safety, the goats' antics entertain and distract, and cats patrol quietly, maintaining order. Their presence reinforces routines, offers companionship, and subtly shapes interactions among the women. Through festivals, gossip, and social connections, the brothel becomes more than a workplace. It is a living, adaptive community. Communication, celebration, and shared experience maintain cohesion, morale, and vigilance, illustrating that resilience emerges not solely from labor but from culture, humor, and the strength of social bonds. Each day within the brothel begins before dawn, as the household stirs to the familiar rhythm of labor, preparation, and anticipation. Fires are stoked, floors swept, and animals tended, while the madam oversees the orchestration of tasks with practiced precision. The daily routine is a choreography of survival, where every action supports both the individual and the collective. Apprentices follow seasoned women through the cycle of service, learning not only practical skills but also the timing and subtlety required to navigate patrons and internal dynamics. Meals are simple but ritualized, offering brief reprieve and nourishment, while chores, animal care, and preparation for the evening rush unfold with steady discipline. Evenings bring the house to life. Patrons arrive, gossip circulates, and entertainment, songs, games, stories, imbues the environment with energy and resilience. The women move with awareness and intention, balancing attention to guests with vigilance, empathy, and self-preservation. In this daily rhythm, every small choice carries weight, every interaction has consequence, and every routine reinforces survival. Storms, illnesses, rivalries, and unexpected visitors test this order, yet the household adapts. Animals participate in these rhythms, signaling danger, providing warmth, or sustaining comfort. Brutus' vigilance, the goat's playful disruptions, and the cat's watchful presence all contribute to the subtle orchestration that maintains stability amid chaos. Through repetition and observation, the women internalize the cycles of labor, leisure, risk, and care. Humor, camaraderie, and fleeting moments of joy provide resilience against hardship. The daily rhythm, though harsh and unrelenting, becomes a source of knowledge, community, and endurance. It is in the constancy of routine, the interplay of labor and leisure, and the careful navigation of social, economic, and emotional demands that survival is forged and maintained. In this cycle, the brothel emerges as more than a place of work or commerce. It is a living microcosm, a complex ecosystem of human and animal life, where discipline, observation, and mutual support ensure that even amid adversity, life persists, spirit endures, and community thrives. As the night deepens and the brothel quiets, a reflective calm settles over the household. The day's labors, triumphs, and trials leave subtle traces, smudges of effort on wooden floors, faint echoes of laughter, whispered confidences carried through corridors, and the steady rhythm of animals finding rest. In these quiet moments, the women pause to consider not just survival, but endurance, growth, and the legacy of their efforts. Every lesson taught, every skill honed, and every bond nurtured becomes part of a collective memory, passed down to apprentices who will one day lead the household themselves. The madam's authority, wisdom, and vigilance leave an indelible mark, ensuring continuity in a world of constant uncertainty. The brothel itself embodies resilience. Its walls, worn yet steadfast, shelter life in all its complexity, struggle, humor, companionship, and care. Animals, companions, and guardians alike, rest after their constant vigilance, symbols of the household's adaptability and the interwoven nature of human and non-human life. Even in adversity, the women's creativity, empathy, and resourcefulness leave traces that outlast each individual day. Stories told, songs sung, and rituals maintained carry the essence of identity and memory, a testament to the spirit that sustains them. Each small act, an offered hand, a shared meal, a moment of guidance, echoes through the household, weaving a resilient, living legacy. In the quiet of night, survival transforms into reflection, endurance into wisdom, and labor into art. The brothel is more than a workplace or refuge. It is a dynamic microcosm of human experience, a place where discipline, observation, and community coalesce to create a rhythm that persists beyond the immediate hardships of life. Here, within these walls, the past informs the present, and the efforts of today prepare the household to meet tomorrow, embodying a continuity of resilience, spirit, and shared humanity that endures quietly, persistently, and profoundly. As darkness deepens, the brothel does not sleep. While many lie in shared, drafty quarters, a quiet vigilance permeates the household. Brutus, the ever-watchful mastiff, patrols corridors and thresholds, his presence a constant reassurance against intruders and mischief. The women, seasoned and alert, maintain subtle routines, checking locks, listening for disturbances, and tending to the needs of both patrons and animals. Nighttime work is often unseen but essential. Floors are swept, fires attended, and small tasks completed to prepare for the following day. Apprentices, guided by experience, learn that these hidden labors are as critical as the more visible efforts of service and interaction. They see that survival is not only immediate but cumulative, requiring attention to detail, foresight, and care that extends beyond the eye of the day. The quiet hours also allow for reflection, whispered confidences, and discreet guidance from the madam. Lessons are imparted in hushed tones, stories shared to pass the night, and bonds strengthened in moments of shared trust. Even the animals contribute to this subtle ecosystem. Cats roam silently, controlling vermin. The goat's occasional bleat punctuates the stillness, reminding all of life's persistence. Through these nightly routines, the women cultivate awareness, patience, and discipline. Every observation, every precaution, and every act of care reinforces the household structure and security. The night watch is a testament to the often invisible labor that underpins the rhythm of life within the brothel, sustaining order, safety, and continuity. In darkness, the brothel demonstrates resilience in its quietest form. It is a space where vigilance, responsibility, and community coalesce to maintain life, protect the vulnerable, and preserve the fragile harmony that allows survival, trust, and spirit to endure through each night. As dawn creeps through small, grimy windows, the brothel awakens slowly yet with purpose. The quiet vigilance of night gives way to the bustle of morning. Fires are stoked, water drawn, and floors swept, marking the start of another day in the continuous cycle of survival. The morning reckoning is both literal and symbolic. Accounts are reviewed, debts tallied, and chores assigned, reinforcing the structure that sustains the household. Apprentices witness the madam's meticulous oversight, learning that every detail, every coin, every task, every obligation matters in the delicate balance of life within these walls. Breakfast is modest, often pottage and stale bread, yet it serves as a communal anchor. Women gather briefly, sharing conversation, observing one another's moods, and preparing mentally for the demands of the day. In these moments, camaraderie and awareness are renewed, reinforcing bonds that protect both morale and safety. Animals also participate in this transition. Brutus stretches and patrols the familiar territory, alert to any change or threat. Cats prowl for breakfast and patrol for vermin, maintaining their quiet but crucial role in the household's ecosystem. The goat, undeterred by human schedules, resumes its playful wandering, reminding all of the rhythm of life beyond duty. The morning reckoning is more than organization, it is affirmation. It reminds the women of their shared purpose, their individual responsibilities, and the collective resilience that allows them to endure. The brothel, though harsh and demanding, emerges each day as a structured, functioning community, where observation, discipline, and mutual care ensure that life persists, spirit endures, and the delicate harmony of survival continues unabated. Life in the brothel is a constant lesson in vigilance. The women, particularly apprentices, quickly learn that survival depends as much on perception as on labor. Every patron's expression, every shift in tone, every unusual movement becomes a cue to anticipate potential problems or opportunities. The madam instills an acute awareness of detail. She teaches how to read body language, interpret subtle social signals, and anticipate rivalries or dangers before they escalate. Observation becomes a tool of power, a means to navigate the complex web of interactions that define the household and its place in the city. Adaptation is equally crucial. Weather changes, unexpected visitors, shortages of supplies, or the arrival of new apprentices demand flexibility and quick thinking. The women learn to improvise, balancing the immediate needs of survival with long-term stability. Mistakes are instructive, successes reinforce confidence. Each day hones their ability to respond strategically to the unpredictability of the world beyond the brothel's walls. Animals serve as teachers of instinct and awareness. Brutus' alertness, the goat's unpredictable behavior, and the cat's quiet vigilance provide continuous lessons in perception and reaction. Their presence reminds the women that survival requires attention not only to human behavior but to the subtler signals of the environment. Through careful observation, thoughtful adaptation, and the cultivation of intuition, the women acquire a practical wisdom that transcends mere survival. They learn that life in the brothel is a complex interplay of skill, patience, and perception, a continuous exercise in reading, responding, and thriving amidst uncertainty. In a crowded, bustling household, health is fragile and vigilance is constant. Illness and injury are unavoidable, and the women quickly learn the boundaries between caution, care, and the harsh realities of medieval medicine. Lice, fleas, and other pests are relentless, while disease lurks silently, threatening both body and livelihood. Medical knowledge is limited, rooted in superstition, folklore, and practical improvisation. Herbs, poultices, leeches, and cauterization are employed with varying success, while prayers, charms, and rituals provide comfort more than cure. The madam oversees care, distributing remedies, instructing apprentices, and coordinating treatment, understanding that recovery is as much about morale and attention as about the medicine itself. Daily routines include hygiene measures, however rudimentary, communal baths, careful handling of linens, and periodic cleaning of living spaces. Soap is precious, rationed, and guarded, while basic nutrition from pottage and bread provides the barest defense against malnutrition. In this environment, the women learn resilience, patience, and self-reliance, balancing care for themselves with the needs of others. Animals play a surprising role in maintaining health. Cats reduce vermin that carry disease. Brutus presents deterrent intruders who could introduce further risk. Even the goat's movements help keep small spaces aired and alert. The household functions as an ecosystem, each member contributing to the delicate balance of well-being. Despite limitations, moments of recovery, shared remedies, and collective attention sustain life. The women understand that health is fragile, but knowledge, observation, and communal care mitigate risk, creating a fragile but enduring safety net. In these practices, the brothel demonstrates that survival is not only a matter of labor or skill but also a careful negotiation with the body, environment, and the unpredictable nature of illness. Life within the brothel, though communal, is not without tension. Disagreements over chores, customer interactions, or personal space arise frequently, and the madam's authority ensures that disputes are managed before they escalate. Her rules are clear, her discipline firm, and her presence unyielding, a combination that maintains order in a world prone to chaos. Apprentices observe that conflict is as much a social exercise as it is a practical concern. Disputes are often resolved through negotiation, guided mediation, or the structured application of house rules. The madam's interventions teach lessons in fairness, pragmatism, and respect, emphasizing that personal grievances must never compromise the household's stability or security. Punishments are applied when necessary, measured to correct rather than to harm. Tasks may be reassigned, privileges temporarily revoked, or additional responsibilities imposed. Each act of discipline reinforces the communal expectation that every woman contributes to the welfare of all, and that survival is rooted in adherence to shared structure and responsibility. Animals participate indirectly in maintaining order. Brutus' vigilant presence discourages escalation, while cats, ever alert, signal disturbances that might otherwise go unnoticed. The goat's unpredictable behavior occasionally forces compromise or attention, reminding all that adaptability is essential in maintaining harmony. Through the consistent enforcement of house rules, careful management of conflict, and a culture of mutual accountability, the brothel functions as an organized, resilient ecosystem. Apprentices learn that discipline, observation, and cooperation are indispensable tools, not only for personal survival but for sustaining the collective well-being of the household. In this balance of authority and adaptation, life continues with rhythm, structure, and enduring cohesion. Newcomers to the brothel enter a world that is at once chaotic, demanding, and instructive. Apprentices face a baptism of experience, learning rules, routines, and strategies for survival under the watchful eyes of the madam and seasoned women. Initiation is a process both practical and symbolic, a rite of passage that transforms them from novices into functional members of the household. Trials vary in intensity. Some involve mastering chores under pressure, others navigating complex social interactions with patrons or coworkers, while still others test endurance and adaptability during long shifts or unexpected challenges. Each trial reinforces the apprentice's awareness, self-reliance, and understanding of communal interdependence. Guidance is constant but subtle. Experienced women provide advice, correct missteps, and model behavior, while the madam ensures that lessons are learned without compromising safety. Apprentices absorb not only technical skills but also wisdom in observation, negotiation, and emotional intelligence, gaining insights that will serve them throughout their tenure. Animals are part of the learning environment. Brutus' responses teach caution and respect, the goat's unpredictable antics test adaptability and patience, and the cat's vigilance demonstrates the value of attentiveness. These lessons in perception and responsiveness complement human instruction, reinforcing the household's interconnected ecosystem. By the conclusion of their trials, apprentices emerge with practical competence, emotional resilience, and an understanding of the household's rhythms. Initiation is not merely a formality, it is an essential process that ensures continuity, strengthens social cohesion, and cultivates the skills necessary for both personal and collective survival within the brothel's demanding, ever-shifting world. Amid the grittiness of daily labor, the brothel thrives as a space of human creativity and expression. Humor is a vital tool, sharp, playful, sometimes dark, used to navigate tension, build camaraderie, and cope with hardship. Jests, playful pranks, and shared laughter lighten the weight of routine and danger, providing brief but essential relief. Storytelling is equally central. Women recount legends, ghost tales, and personal anecdotes, weaving narratives that entertain, instruct, and bond the household. These stories transmit practical knowledge, cultural norms, and communal wisdom, bridging generations of experience and reinforcing identity within the household. Apprentices learn the value of expression, observation, and timing through these exchanges. Humor teaches adaptability, storytelling fosters insight, and participation in shared culture nurtures belonging. Together, these practices reinforce social cohesion, moral resilience, and emotional health, ensuring that life in the brothel is more than mere survival. It is a space of subtle enrichment and shared experience. Animals play a quiet but memorable role in these moments. Brutus' presence punctuates comic timing, the goat's antics become part of narrative humor, and cat's silent mischief often inspires observation and story. In this ecosystem, animals enhance both practical and emotional learning, reminding all of the interconnectedness of life, play, and survival. Through laughter, narrative, and creative expression, the brothel nurtures a sense of community, resilience, and hope. In a place of labor and constraint, culture becomes a lifeline, an affirmation of spirit, a tool of adaptation, and a celebration of the shared humanity that sustains everyone through hardship and uncertainty. The brothel exists in a delicate balance, constantly aware of the scrutiny that may come from local authorities, the church, or rival houses. Raids and inspections are a recurring threat, demanding vigilance, strategic planning, and quick thinking from the madam and her staff. Preparation is methodical. Valuables are hidden, bribes arranged, and apprentices trained to respond with calm efficiency. Patrons may be moved discreetly, floors and rooms tidied, and routines adjusted to avoid drawing attention. The madam's experience turns potential chaos into controlled action, transforming fear into practiced preparedness. Apprentices learn that survival relies not only on skill with patrons but on understanding social dynamics, assessing risk, and anticipating the unpredictable. Every shadow, every knock at the door, and every rumor carries significance. Awareness and adaptability become as vital as any practical labor or service. Animals, as always, play an essential role. Brutus' alertness provides early warning, the goat's agitation signals disturbances, and the cat's attentive patrols alert to unseen threats. Their instincts complement human vigilance, forming an integrated system of protection that extends beyond any single individual. Through careful observation, disciplined preparation, and communal coordination, the household withstands external pressures. The brothel survives not only through cunning and resilience but by cultivating a network of foresight, trust, and rapid response, ensuring that life within its walls continues even under constant potential threat. At the heart of the brothel's functioning lies the madam, a figure of authority, strategy, and social acumen. Her power extends beyond supervision. She negotiates debts, manages disputes, and navigates the intricate web of patrons, rivals, and local officials. Her influence is subtle yet absolute, shaping the household's survival and cohesion. Every decision she makes reflects careful calculation. Favor is granted, tasks assigned, and rules enforced with an understanding of personalities, motives, and potential consequences. Apprentices learn that authority is earned and exercised with both firmness and empathy, a balance that ensures respect without inciting rebellion. The brothel operates within a social ecosystem that extends into the city. Alliances with merchants, discreet negotiations with clergy, and cautious interactions with officials maintain tolerance while minimizing risk. The madam's diplomacy, wit, and decisiveness enable the household to thrive amidst scrutiny and competition, preserving both safety and opportunity. Animals reflect and reinforce this hierarchy. Brutus responds instantly to the madam's commands, embodying her authority in motion. Cats patrol and maintain order. The goat's antics are tolerated selectively, illustrating the balance between discipline and levity. Through observation, apprentices learn that power is exercised through presence, influence, and understanding of the interconnected dynamics that sustain the household. In this intricate balance of authority and influence, the brothel functions as a self-contained society. Leadership, negotiation, and strategic awareness ensure survival, reinforce community, and exemplify how skillful management of social hierarchies sustains life, morale, and order amidst the complexity of medieval urban existence. Life in the brothel is governed not only by rules and routines but by a delicate economy, a constant negotiation between wages, debts, and survival. The women earn modest sums, most of which are absorbed by the madam's cut, rent, and household necessities. Apprentices quickly learn that financial independence is scarce and that every coin carries consequence. Debt is a recurring reality. Loans, unpaid fees, and advances create a cycle where labor is continuously exchanged for survival. The madam's ledger, a combination of meticulous records and memory, ensures that obligations are tracked and settled, maintaining balance between individual needs and the household stability. Apprentices are taught the subtleties of accounting, repayment, and negotiation, learning that fiscal awareness is as vital as any other skill. Patrons contribute to this economy with varying degrees of generosity or whim. Some offer coins, favors, or goods, while others attempt to evade payment or exploit vulnerability. The women navigate this landscape with caution, tact, and observation, turning small advantages into necessary sustenance. Even animals play a subtle economic role. Cats control vermin that could ruin stored food. Brutus' vigilance protects valuable assets. The goat's grazing reduces waste, reminding all that survival is a collaboration of effort, observation, and resourcefulness. Through careful management, shared knowledge, and disciplined observation, the household maintains its fragile financial balance. In this microcosm of economic reality, apprentices learn that money, labor, and social savvy are intertwined, and that survival is as much a matter of strategy and foresight as of daily effort. The brothel exists not in isolation but as part of a broader, often tense urban ecosystem. Rival establishments compete for patrons, territory, and reputation, and even minor disputes can escalate into pranks, thefts, or subtle sabotage. Apprentices quickly learn that observation, diplomacy, and quick thinking are as essential outside the walls as within. Conflict with competitors is rarely overt. It is a game of perception, strategy, and occasional trickery. Laundry may be stolen, rumors spread, or patrons quietly diverted. The madam monitors these tensions closely, negotiating truces, asserting influence, and ensuring that her household retains stability amid the shifting currents of rivalry. At the same time, alliances are formed when external threats appear. Church inspections, city regulations, or opportunistic criminals can unite otherwise competing houses in mutual defense. These moments teach apprentices the delicate balance of competition and cooperation, a lesson that extends beyond economics into the realm of survival and social strategy. Animals continue to play their role. Brutus' imposing presence deters intruders, the goat's wandering antics sometimes disrupt rival attempts, and the cat's watchfulness protects stored goods from theft or vermin. In this way, every member of the household contributes to navigating the precarious terrain of external pressures. Through rivalry, negotiation, and strategic awareness, the brothel demonstrates resilience. The household thrives not by isolation but through active engagement with its environment, through vigilance, adaptability, and the quiet mastery of social and economic dynamics that ensure survival, cohesion, and even occasional prosperity amid competition. Life within the brothel is inseparable from the rhythms of the natural world. Each season brings its own challenges, shaping the daily routines, labor, and survival strategies of the household. Winter chills seep through drafty walls, making simple chores arduous and nights long. Fires must be tended with care, and layers of clothing and blankets become essential tools of endurance. Spring brings dampness and pestilence as rain soaks floors and walls, encouraging the spread of lice, fleas, and other vermin. The women and apprentices learn to respond quickly, scrubbing floors, airing bedding, and tending to animals with renewed diligence. Summer heat adds another layer of discomfort, intensifying the smells, crowding the rooms, and taxing patience, while autumn signals preparation, storage of provisions, tending of livestock, and planning for scarcity. Animals are integral to adaptation. Brutus offers warmth and protection during cold nights, the goat's grazing reduces indoor clutter, cats hunt pests that flourish in damp or hot conditions. Together, human and animal routines adjust to seasonal rhythms, reflecting a subtle but essential codependence. Apprentices witness firsthand the interplay between environment and household management. They learn to anticipate shortages, prepare for storms, and adjust daily routines to maintain hygiene, morale, and safety. Each seasonal challenge becomes a lesson in observation, planning, and adaptability, demonstrating that survival is not static but a dynamic negotiation with both people and nature. Through resilience, foresight, and communal effort, the brothel endures the shifting seasons. Each challenge reinforces discipline, fortitude, and shared responsibility, embedding a rhythm of life that harmonizes labor, care, and observation with the unpredictable forces of the natural world. Even amid hardship, the brothel carves out moments of joy and ritual, small celebrations that punctuate the relentless cycle of labor and survival. Festivals, local feasts, and seasonal traditions are observed in miniature, adapted to the confines of the household. These occasions offer reprieve, camaraderie, and a chance to reinforce social bonds. Apprentices participate eagerly, learning the rhythms of cultural practice alongside the practicalities of their daily duties. Simple songs are sung, small dances performed, and shared meals, though modest, are enjoyed with a sense of ritual and community. Humor, storytelling, and playful competitions animate these moments, allowing both women and animals to participate in fleeting relief from routine. The madam guides these celebrations carefully, balancing enjoyment with safety and practicality. Even in moments of festivity, attention is paid to security, cleanliness, and discretion. The celebrations are brief, contained, yet significant, reminders of continuity, tradition, and the resilience of spirit amidst the broader challenges of life. Animals, ever present, become participants in subtle ways. Brutus lounges nearby, alert yet relaxed. The goat's antics provoke laughter, and cats weave through legs and laps, completing the scene of shared life. Their presence emphasizes that the household is an ecosystem of interdependence, where joy, care, and vigilance coexist. Through these festivals and rituals, the brothel maintains a pulse of culture, creativity, and emotional sustenance. They serve as a quiet testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and the enduring capacity for connection, reminding all who dwell within that even amidst adversity, moments of celebration, shared laughter, and communal expression sustain both body and spirit. The brothel's daily rhythm is defined not only by internal routines but by the flow of patrons who arrive seeking services, distraction, or companionship. Each visitor brings a unique dynamic, requiring observation, diplomacy, and adaptability from the women. The madam oversees these interactions with precision, guiding apprentices in the subtle art of negotiation, tact, and discretion. Pricing, timing, and special requests are carefully managed. Negotiation is not only about money, it is about maintaining respect, ensuring safety, and sustaining the household's reputation. Apprentices learn that reading a patron's demeanor, discerning intention, and responding appropriately is as critical as any practical skill. Misjudgment can result in financial loss, disruption, or danger. The social tapestry of patrons is complex. Merchants, soldiers, clergy, disguised nobles, and local townsfolk all interact within the brothel's walls. Each brings stories, rumors, and influence, weaving the household into the broader fabric of city life. The madam navigates these relationships carefully, preserving discretion while extracting benefit, ensuring that the brothel remains both protected and prosperous. Animals continue to reinforce the household's function. Brutus monitors the entrance, providing security and reassurance. Cats maintain hygiene by controlling vermin. The goat's unpredictable behavior occasionally surprises patrons, eliciting laughter or curiosity. Their presence subtly shapes the environment, reminding all that human and animal interactions together create the household's unique ecosystem. Through skillful negotiation, acute observation, and careful management of social interaction, the brothel maintains its balance between service, safety, and profit. Apprentices witness the nuanced interplay of personality, power, and practicality, learning that survival depends as much on social intelligence as on labor, discipline, and resilience. Within the brothel, life is not merely routine. It is threaded with subtle intrigue and the quiet tension of rivalry. Even among those who share the same space, alliances form and dissolve, secrets circulate, and social hierarchies shift like currents beneath the surface. Apprentices learn early that perception, discretion, and timing are essential tools for navigating this invisible web. Small competitions emerge over attention, favored positions, or trust from the madam. Whispers and unspoken cues carry meaning. A glance or tone may signal approval, caution, or disfavor. Understanding these signals becomes as critical as performing duties, teaching apprentices that survival in this household requires both skill and social intelligence. Secrets are both protective and dangerous. Private knowledge about patrons, debts, or rival establishments can confer power, but mismanagement or exposure can provoke conflict. The madam maintains oversight, using her experience to manage rivalries, enforce boundaries, and guide apprentices through the delicate landscape of interpersonal dynamics. Animals mirror these tensions in subtle ways. Brutus' reactions to intruders or disturbances signal unseen shifts, the goat's unpredictable actions interrupt tensions, and cats observe quietly, their behaviors a reminder of vigilance and attentiveness. Through careful observation, the women learn that every creature and every moment carries potential significance. This interplay of rivalry, discretion, and subtle influence ensures that the brothel is a living, dynamic ecosystem. Lessons in patience, observation, and judgment cultivate the household's resilience, preparing apprentices to understand that success and safety depend not only on labor but on the wisdom to navigate the invisible currents of intrigue that flow through every corner of the house. The brothel functions as a finely tuned, if chaotic, workplace. Every member has assigned duties, ranging from tending to rooms, preparing meals, cleaning communal areas, managing animals, and attending to patrons. Apprentices learn quickly that labor is not merely a task. It is a form of survival, discipline, and contribution to the household's continuity. Work is divided to maximize efficiency and maintain order. Some women specialize in entertaining patrons, others in maintaining hygiene, cooking, or laundering, while apprentices rotate through tasks, gaining practical experience in every aspect of daily operation. Each chore, however mundane, carries significance. A clean floor reduces vermin, a well-tended meal sustains energy, and careful attention to detail ensures safety and comfort. Observation and adaptation are constant companions. The women adjust routines to changing circumstances, whether unexpected visitors, illness, or scarcity of supplies. Flexibility is as important as competence, and apprentices are taught to anticipate needs, solve problems quickly, and maintain morale under pressure. Animals are seamlessly integrated into this labor ecosystem. Brutus guards the premises, the goat helps manage space and provides entertainment, and cats hunt pests. Each creature contributes to the household's efficiency and well-being, reinforcing lessons in responsibility, observation, and the interconnectedness of all members, human and animal alike. Through structured labor, careful division of duties, and attentive apprenticeship, the brothel maintains order, efficiency, and resilience. Every day reinforces discipline, practical skill, and social cohesion, demonstrating that survival depends not only on individual effort but on the shared commitment of a community bound by necessity, observation, and care. Time in the brothel shapes apprentices in ways that go beyond skill and labor. Each day, through observation, trial, and mentorship, they gain personal insight into human behavior, social dynamics, and the delicate balance of survival. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable become opportunities for learning, resilience, and self-awareness. Mentorship is subtle yet powerful. Experienced women model behavior, share strategies for dealing with patrons, manage household tensions, and navigate citywide social currents. Apprentices internalize lessons not as rigid instructions but as adaptable tools, learning when to assert themselves, when to observe, and when to rely on intuition. The environment cultivates adaptability and patience. Mistakes are instructive, successes build confidence. Every interaction, whether with a patron, a fellow worker, or an animal, becomes a moment of reflection, teaching empathy, discernment, and the importance of measured response. Animals contribute to this growth as well. Brutus' reactions teach awareness and caution, the goat's antics demonstrate unpredictability and humor, and cats silently model vigilance. The apprentices learn that the household is an interconnected ecosystem, where attention, respect, and cooperation extend across species and tasks. By the end of their initial months, apprentices emerge with practical skill, emotional resilience, and nuanced understanding. They recognize that survival is not merely a matter of performing duties but of reading the world with insight, responding with wisdom, and cultivating the quiet strength that sustains life within the brothel. Even in a life governed by labor, survival, and vigilance, the brothel nurtures moments of artistry, entertainment, and shared cultural expression. Music, song, and storytelling are woven into daily life, providing both diversion and connection. These practices transform the household from a mere place of work into a living, breathing community. Apprentices learn to participate, whether by singing along, telling a tale, or performing small acts of improvisation. Stories carry practical lessons, humor, and the wisdom of experience, passing knowledge from one generation to the next. Songs and rhythms mark daily routines, lighten burdens, and create cohesion among the women, reinforcing the bonds that sustain them. Animals often punctuate the scene with comic relief or subtle accompaniment. Brutus growls or playful movements set timing for a joke. The goat's mischief becomes part of narrative or performance, and cats, ever observant, weave through the space, their movements marking rhythm and pace. Through these interactions, the household demonstrates the interdependence of all life within its walls. Entertainment is both a reprieve and a survival tool. Laughter, music, and stories relieve stress, preserve morale, and strengthen community, allowing women to endure the harsh realities of work, economic precarity, and social scrutiny. In this interplay of creativity and daily life, the brothel emerges not only as a place of labor but as a sanctuary of shared human experience, resilience, and the enduring power of culture. As days blend into nights and seasons shift once more, the brothel stands as a testament to endurance, adaptation, and the quiet rhythms of life. The women, apprentices, and even the animals have woven themselves into a delicate but resilient ecosystem, where survival relies on observation, skill, cooperation, and insight. The madam reflects the wisdom of experience. She sees the growth of apprentices, the shifting dynamics among her household, and the balance of danger, opportunity, and community that defines daily life. Her guidance ensures that lessons learned are passed on, and that the cycle of survival, discipline, and adaptation continues unbroken. Apprentices now understand that the brothel is more than work, it is a school of life, teaching practical skill, emotional intelligence, social strategy, and resilience. They have learned the economy of wages and debts, the negotiation of social hierarchies, and the subtle art of maintaining morale through humor, storytelling, and communal rituals. Animals, from Brutus to the goat and cats, remain ever-present, embodying the continuity of the household, teaching vigilance, companionship, and the importance of adaptability. Together, humans and animals sustain a living system, a microcosm of medieval society, harsh yet vibrant, chaotic yet orderly, dangerous yet full of small joys. Through reflection, perseverance, and shared experience, the brothel emerges not as a place of mere vice, but as a microcosm of survival, resilience, and human connection. Life continues in rhythm, a cycle of labor, learning, laughter, and endurance, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who navigate its walls, and a story that echoes the timeless truth that even in hardship, community, skill, and resilience persist. As the lights dim and the night settles over the medieval city, the brothel's daily rhythm slows to a gentle pause. The women rest, apprentices dream, and Brutus, the goat, and the cats curl into warmth, guardians of a household that has endured the challenges of labor, scrutiny, and the unpredictable tides of life. In the quiet, one can sense the stories woven into the walls, the lessons learned, the laughter shared, and the resilience that has carried this community through hardship after hardship. Even in the harshest times, bonds of care, cunning, and companionship have endured, a testament to human adaptability and spirit. Though the doors close and the city sleeps, the echoes of life within linger, reminding us that every corner of history, even those often overlooked, holds stories of struggle, ingenuity, and quiet triumph. And as you drift into sleep, let these echoes carry you gently into dreams of resilience, connection, and the timeless rhythm of life. Sleep now, with the knowledge that even in the most unlikely places, humanity finds a way to endure, to connect, and to flourish.